Hokage give me a face. One Piece, Chapter 121-140. Chapter 121 _ Enormous Power. On an island not far from the D8 fortress. Give me the most authority. Yizan raised his eyebrows and looked at the green pheasant in front of him. Qingzi nodded, rubbed his shoulders, and looked at Yi Xuandao. Yes, I will give you the greatest authority. The previous shot was the final test of your combat power by the top management, sorry. Yizan looked at the green pheasant and nodded stunned. This kind of test is really a nonsense. Do you know that you are one step late, and I am ready to take the real shot? Yizan is not talking nonsense. Qingzi himself is a high-ranking navy, and Yizan's identity has always been hostile to the navy. Yizan thought his identity was discovered, and almost showed his own style. But fortunately, at the last time, I used the 3-color domineering, the 6 naval styles and the swordsmanship to cope with it. For warships, you can go to the capital of water. The warship is already in the final test stage. It is estimated that you can see the warship you designed when you go to the capital of water. As for the configuration and personnel of the warship, you can check it out by yourself. Choose at will from the personnel of the Navy and even the world government. Quote. The green pheasant made Yizan a little stunned, so much power. 30. It seems that I really made the world government and Tianlong people anxious, so giving a newcomer power is not urgent, it is really impossible. Yizan thought so. If you choose a candidate, you don't have to. I will arrest him slowly. You only need to bring the warden of the deep-sea prison with me. After I capture Yizan, ordinary people may not necessarily be able to arrest him. Yizan said forcefully. Yizan's words made Qing Pheasant smile bitterly. Yizan, who pretended to be a force, had to cooperate. There was no way. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you need anyone else? Qingzi looked at Yizan and asked. No need. Yizan waved his hands casually. By the way, let me add the most basic staffing of the warship to me. They all need beautiful women. After all, Yizan likes women, and I am also a man. It's better to have some women around than men. Does it really matter? What's the matter? You can't help with other things, so don't make trouble. Yizan's words made Qingzi aggrieved. I'm an admiral of the Navy headquarters, okay. Give me some face, okay. Qingzi looked at Yizan speechlessly and said. Yizan flipped a Byakugan. Give you face. You are dignified admirals of the Navy headquarters. You have not succeeded in encircling and suppressing one person several times, and you have been killed by the other side. Are you embarrassed to say it? You won't let others talk about it. Yizan's words, let Qingzi hide in the corner and draw a circle. I don't want to, but who knows that you two are perverts, so powerful. Huh, Yizan looked at the green pheasant and said, what did you say? No, it's nothing. Qingji looked at Yizan's gentle smile, and for some reason he felt a chill. He quickly waved his hand, and said, I said that you are so powerful, you must be more powerful than us. That's natural. Yizan looked at the green pheasant and said, weak chicken, is there anything else? Weak chicken. Qingzi nodded aggrievedly. I am an admiral of the dignified naval headquarters. Oh, Admiral Aokiji of the Navy headquarters. I know, Aokiji is not just a chicken. You are so weak, I don't call you a weak chicken, what do you call you? Yizan's words made Qingzi's lowered head even lower. You're right, but I'm speechless. Qingzi looked at Yizan and said, I'm fine, I'm leaving. The green pheasant is like a wandering soul that has been hit, wandering away into the distance. Yizan looked at Qingzi's appearance, and a mischievous smile cracked at the corner of his mouth. You deserve it, who made you fight with me? Yizan returned to his warship and walked into the prison, where the girls were playing cards. Brother Zan, where are you going now? Seeing the girls, Yizan cancelled the transformation technique and restored his appearance. Well, go to the water capital. The capital of 7 waters. Hee. Can the capital of 7 waters fight? I really want to try my new abilities. Kia smiled happily, turning into a kitten and twisting her body at will, at a fast speed like lightning. that swift figure surprised both Nami and Robin. Yizan also looked at the back of Kia leaving, and said with emotion, I didn't expect Kia to be extremely talented in speed. After a while, I will give the technique of Hiraishin to Kia. In that case, Phantom Cat, really it's anticipation. Yizan's words made Nami come to Yizan's side. I don't care, I must become stronger, I am too weak now. Yizan looked at Nami and said, you are already very strong in combat now. After all, Nami's combat power relies on Yizan. Using Yizan's S-level scrolls to fight, Nami's combat power is indeed very close to Yizan's. After all, in essence, Nami's attacks are copied from Yizan. No, that's all using your moves, and I want to get stronger. Nami said to Yizan. Nami 290 are not so difficult to understand. After all, the use of external forces and their own strength are not the same concept. Just like in modern times, although there are powerful hot weapons such as firearms, there are still many people who learn martial arts. How do you want to become stronger? Which one? Yizan looked at Nami and asked dotingly. I want all kinds of abilities, just like Brother Zan. Only in this way can I use these abilities to combine all kinds of celestial phenomena. Nami's words are very reasonable, and they make sense. All kinds of abilities, put it simply. These various abilities of Yizan are based on one world, and with the accumulation of time, not to mention the existence of the face-defying fruit, therefore, Yizan has so many abilities. For Nami, if you want so many abilities, it's really not something that can be achieved by ordinary means. If you want to have a lot of power, it's not impossible, my power is enough for you, but, in this case, in a sense, there is still no difference. After all, power is not yours, wait until you use it. After that, it needs to be supplemented again. Although it takes a long time, it still needs my supplement. Quote. Chapter 122-City of Seven Waters. Yizan's slow words made Nami nodded. Nami also knew that this was a bit difficult, but she still wanted to ask Yizan if it was impossible. Okay, Nami, I'll figure it out later. It's alright, let's go to the road ship. Yizan nodded, but he still kept this matter in his heart. On the road ship. Luffy excitedly looked at the girls beside Yizan and said to Yizan, you rescued them. Nonsense. I didn't save it, could it be you who saved it? Hee. Luffy scratched his head stupidly, and said to Yizan, I'm going to the water capital next. The Golden Melee has gone through such a long battle and needs to be repaired. Yizan looked at Luffy and shook his head, don't go. I haven't told you before that the Golden Melee can't be repaired, and then we need to abandon the ship, to be precise, find another ship or buy another ship. Gold the Mary can no longer sail. Why can't we continue sailing? Usopp yelled at Yizan. The keel of the Golden Melee has been broken, and it is no longer worth repairing, or in other words, it is so bad that it cannot be repaired. Yizan said slowly. The keel is broken, wouldn't it be better to change the keel? Luffy looked at Yizan strangely and asked. Yizan gave Luffy a white look. Kill you to death, and then heal you, will you be able to survive? No, but, what does this have to do with the keel? Luffy looked at Yizan strangely and asked. Compared to people, the keel is equivalent to people's lives and souls. The keel has an accident and cannot be repaired properly. Yizan's words made Usopp say to Yizan loudly, how is it possible? The keel is destroyed, why not just change the keel again? Yizan gave Usopp a white look, you still repair the ship. Do you know why I say that the keel is the soul of the ship? Because the keel actually refers to the most important main beam of the ship, and the whole ship is attached to it. It is composed of parts such as wooden boards on the keel. If the keel needs to be replaced, the ship needs to be dismantled again, and then continue to be assembled again, which is equivalent to remanufacturing a ship. Therefore, the Golden Melee cannot be repaired. It can't be repaired. Yizan's words made Luffy and the others look at Yizan with bright eyes. Wow, Yizan, you know a lot. Luffy looked at Yizan and said so. And Sanji and Zoro also nodded. Yeah, you actually know about the ship. What are you doing? The Golden Melee is going to be destroyed. Usopp yelled at Luffy and the others. What are you worried about? Yizan is not a professional ship repairing craftsman after all. Maybe what he said is wrong. Luffy's words made Usopp nodded quickly. Yes. Yes, it must be wrong. Whatever you want, go if you want. Anyway, Shimura-san also wants to go to the water capital, so you will be blind if you go. Yizan's words made everyone look at Yizan in horror. You said, Shimura-san. Luffy looked at Yizan in shock. Not bad. Yizan hugged Nami and Robin casually, and said to Luffy, I have already warned you this time, so I will not help you. I will protect Nami, Robin, Marina and Via first. Yizan's words made Luffy and others silent. After being silent for a while, Luffy looked at Yizan and said, however, the Golden Melee is completely out of repair. I need a boat, and there is only one place in the City of Water that can support it. The next ship sailing, I can only go to the water capital. Luffy said, and looked at Yizan firmly. So, I have to go to the City of Water. If we encounter Shimura-san, we will just run away. We have practiced so hard, and we are already in Shimura-san. We have escaped several times from the hands, and we can certainly continue to escape. Quote. Escape from Shimura-san's hands. Yizan pulled Nami and Robin towards his area and left a sentence. That's because I was involved, and this time, I won't do it. Quote. Luffy, what should I do? Continue to sail towards the capital of water. What if the problem of continued sailing of the Golden Melee becomes more serious? Luffy's words made everyone nodded quickly. That's right, you must go to the water city. Following everyone's words, Yizan, who was beside Nami and Robin, evoked a smile. Sure enough, I'm going to the capital of water. Next, there's a good show to watch. City of Seven Waters. Everyone looked at a huge dock. This dock is so big. That is, the construction is so fast. It is already the limit of the water capital. What is the use of such a huge dock? It was completed today, and it is said that there will be ships in the dock soon. Many people are talking about it, and they are very interested in the huge dock. On the second day after the successful placement of this dock, Luffy has sailed into the water capital with the Golden Melee. After Yizan entered the water capital, he left Luffy with Nami and Robin. Luffy, you'll be better off yourself now. Marina, do you want to go shopping alone with Alvia? Be careful, I'll take Nami and Robin around the water capital. Yizan said so after a sentence. He took Nami and Robin to stroll in the water capital. Marina and Olivia looked at each other, not knowing when the two women had such a good relationship. They often played in teams, or Via even left Robin aside. Of course, the harmony of the harem is the kingly way. The way of Marina and Alvia made Yizan happy. He brought Nami and Robin to the center of the Seven Waters and found the mayor, Bingshan. You are the mayor of the water capital, Bingshan. Yizan came to Bingshan's office. You are. The devil Yizan. Khalifa, the secretary, beside Bingshan, covered her mouth in disbelief, with a trace of fear in her eyes. Devil Yizan. Bingshan also looked at Yizan in surprise. Not bad. Yizan nodded. I'm Yizan, what's up? Isn't the capital of water always neutral? Bingshan nodded. Yeah, but I didn't expect that the dignified demon Yizan would come to the water city. It's really an honor for our water city. Iceberg said to Yizan. I don't know why the devil Yizan came to the capital of water. Yizan waved his hand. What else can the city of water do? Of course it's for the sake of boats. Who is the best shipbuilder in the city of water? Yizan's words made Khalifa's eyes roll, and he hurriedly interjected. Of course it's our mayor of Iceberg. Chapter 123 _ The keel is broken. The best boatmaker in the Seven Waters is, of course, Bingshan. As the apprentice of the legendary boatmaker, Tom, his craftsmanship is very good. It's you. Yizan looked at Bingshan and said, use your best materials to make me a boat, this is money. Yizan casually put a box of money in front of the iceberg. this is 1,000,000,000 bellies. When you make it, if I'm satisfied, I will give you hard work. Yizan said. He didn't know when he came to the side of the iceberg. Well, to be precise, he came to the side of Khalifa on the side of the iceberg. He didn't know when he touched Khalifa's leg in stockings. Well, it's really smooth and tender. Can I say you are sexually harassing? Khalifa looked at Yizan and took a step back. Of course you can, but whether I listen or not is another matter. Yizan's mouth cracked into a bright smile. And Carly's rule is to look at Yizan. It is said that the devil Yizan is lustful, and it seems that it is so. Bingchen glanced at Yizan, who was playing with Khalifa, and pondered for a while. That 880, Yizan, I think I should tell you in advance, I am the mayor now, in charge of the entire water city. Big or small, so time may not be so much. Quote. Yizan, who was interrupted to play, also remembered that there was a light bulb called Bingchen, and he was no longer in the mood to tease. Then put aside the affairs of the water capital first, and put shipbuilding first. Yizan said casually to the iceberg, and then got up and took Nami and Robin to prepare to leave. Is this good? I'm looking for someone who can compete with me in technology. How about we build this ship together? Bingchen asked Yizan. As you like, I just want the best boat. Yizan said casually, and left with Nami and Robin. Anyway, Yizan made ships just to tease Luffy better. As for his own ships, they have already been built. Yizan looked at the huge dock in the water capital, and a smile cracked at the corner of his mouth. Yizan, who was also Shimura-zan, naturally knew what the newly built huge dock was for. This huge dock should be the docking station. Own warship. The warship that combines One Piece's top technology. After I get it, adding the things from the Hokage world will definitely be incomparably powerful. Yizan's mouth twitched slightly and said slowly. And when Yizan was doing this, the city of water. Everyone in CP9 looked at the information in their hands, and the phone bug on the side just hung up. Khalifa, what are you going to do? What's your decision? Lu Qi looked at Khalifa and asked. I'll go, Khalifa said to Lu Qi. After all, it's an order from a superior. Besides, the demon Yizan is extremely lecherous. I lost my body in the past and it's fine, there's no danger to my life. There is a cloud of mist in Khalifa's eyes. Don't look at the lightness of Khalifa's words. In fact, Khalifa has been shouting no, lost her body, and has no experience with Khalifa, which is mainly based on force. For female CP9 members who have had affairs with men and women, it is still somewhat unacceptable. I'll go to the devil Yizan to find out, Khalifa said slowly to the remaining members of CP9. You, be careful. In the end, many members had no choice but to say this sentence. No way, let's not talk about the iron orders above, just say that the power of the demon Yizan is not something that CP9 can resist. Moreover, Khalifa has also seen Yizan, and Yizan has some interest in himself. And there is. Although he's a devil, he still looks handsome. Khalifa shook her head and threw the thoughts out of her mind. On the other hand, a warship that was so huge that it covered the sky was heading towards the water capital at a speed that was extremely incompatible with the size of the warship. This warship is a warship designed by Yizan himself. In addition to the top-level technological crystallization of the pirate world, there is also a part of the place where the means for the Hokage world are reserved. When Yizan's warship was heading towards the capital of water, Luffy and the others in the water capital finally gave up, and stared blankly at the golden melee in front of them. No matter who the boatman in the dock was, they finally came to the conclusion that the golden melee could not continue sailing. And when Luffy and others burned the golden melee, the ship spirit on the golden melee was seen by Frankie. Ship sprite. Frankie instantly appeared in front of Luffy and the others. Do you know what you are doing? Frankie yelled at Luffy. This is a ship with a ship spirit. How can you be so unhappy? This is our ship, don't worry about it. Usopp yelled at Frankie. No way, everyone was in a bad mood because of the golden melee, and after hearing Frankie's words, they immediately followed Frankie to scolding. And Frankie is not a docile person, the two sides started to meet eyes, and then it was a battle. Soon, Luffy and a group of people beat up Frankie. Luffy decided to replace a new ship with the captain's position. This news has nothing to do with Sanji and Zoro, who have clear goals, but it was blocked by Usopp. Usopp, who has been responsible for the maintenance of the Golden Melee, was very angry at this sudden decision. After the duel with Luffy, he deserved to be defeated, and the defeated Usopp chose to leave Luffy's group. "I'm going to find Yizan. Yizan must have a solution. You wait, I must repair the Golden Mary." Usopp yelled at Luffy and the others, rubbing the tears from the corners of his eyes, and frantically started looking for Yizan Mysterious. In the same place, Sanji, Zoro and Luffy watched Usopp leave, but they didn't continue to say anything. There was no way, it was already a matter of ideas when things got to this point. Ron is a person with lofty ideals, while Usopp is the kind who can get along. The result of the collision of ideals is Usopp's departure. Chapter 124-Khalifa's Beauty Plan. Usopp left. Yizan listened to Nami's news. "Yeah," Nami nodded casually. Yizan sat casually on the stool, with his arms around the waists of Nami and Robin, and the fat-free figure made Yizan squinted his eyes comfortably. "I don't know this time, without Robin's mistake, would Usopp choose to return to Luffy's ship because of Robin's arrival? Well, forget it, it doesn't matter, anyway, Usopp is not there. It doesn't matter, the long-range attack method has nothing to do with Luffy's lineup without long-range methods." Usopp looked for Yizan everywhere, and at the same time, the iceberg found Frankie. "Demon Yizan came to the capital of water, do you know this?" Bingshan said as he looked at Frankie. "I know, what's the matter?" Frankie looked at the iceberg mockingly. "Why don't you go and be the mayor of your water city? Well, what are you doing here with me?" For Frankie's ridicule, Bingshan just sighed, looked at Frankie slowly and said, "Yizan wants me to help him build a boat." "What? Then you make it. Isn't your shipbuilding skills very good?" Frankie looked at the iceberg, and the mocking expression on his face became even more intense. Bingshan looked at Frankie's sneering look and sighed again. "Even if I beg you this time, help me build a ship, and make sure to send the demon Yizan away." "No, I'm not free." Frankie waved his hand, but did not agree to Iceberg's words. Frankie was busy raising money because he heard the news about Baoshu Adam recently, and did not agree to Bingberg's request. In Frankie's view, he and Bingberg have similar shipbuilding skills, so it doesn't matter if he doesn't go. The iceberg sighed helplessly and told Frankie about his troubles. "Frankie, originally, I didn't want to tell you about this. I didn't want you to get involved in these troubles, but now that the demon Yizan comes to the water capital, it will make the water capital turbulent, and, do you know what that huge dock is for?" Bingshan looked at Frankie and said, "That huge dock is a warship specially built by the Navy to defeat the demon Yizan after the Tianlong people instructed the world government to make it. The owner of the warship is Gen Shimura. Shimura-zan and Yizan's strengths are both extremely tyrannical beings, and they both came to the water city and caused the water city to fall into catastrophe." Bingshan said while looking at Frankie. "What does that have to do with me?" Frankie's eyes flashed a complicated look, and his tone became a little loose. "Listen to me, you already know the fact that the water capital has been sinking. I have been imagining a boat that is the same as the water rails like masters, holding up the water capital's descent." The iceberg-faced Franchi said, "The most critical time has come now, so I want you to help me build this ship." The words of the iceberg made Frankie's eyes widen in shock. For a long time, Frankie thought that the iceberg betrayed himself, betrayed his master, and became the mayor of the City of Water, and he was not clear with the Navy, but now it seems. "Sorry, it's my fault. I've always misunderstood you." Frankie looked at the iceberg and said, "Okay, then I'll take over this job, but it's a pity, the branches of the treasure tree Adam seem to be no chance." Bingshan glanced at Frankie. "You still like boats so much. Also, aren't we all like this? But don't worry, you can still get the branches of the treasure tree Adam. Not only can you get them, but you can also use this treasure." The tree Adam made a ship, and the demon Yizan gave 1,000,000,000 berry, enough for you to make a ship. Bingtian's words made Frankie look at the iceberg in surprise. Really? I didn't expect that the devil Yizan would even give money. And just like that, Frankie and Iceberg settled on what to do with the Sunshine Mile. On the other hand, Yizan sat comfortably on the chair, and in front of him was the sudden arrival of Khalifa. What are you doing here? Yizan narrowed his eyes slightly, feeling the comfort of Nami and Robin beating their backs and pinching their shoulders behind him, and said to Khalifa. I came here to ask, do you have any requirements for the shape of the vessel or weapons that you asked the mayor to make? Khalifa looked at Yizan and slowly came to Yizan and said. And Yizan hooked his fingers at Khalifa. I don't know if Carly's law was intentional or not, and came to Yizan enchantingly. Come on. Yizan hugged Khalifa. Comfortable, facing Khalifa's embrace, Yizan did not hesitate to put one hand around Khalifa's waist, and the other hand gently touched Khalifa's body, but deliberately did not touch it. In important places, even so, Khalifa made Yuhi's face full of shame, and resisted slightly stiffly. No, Khalifa suddenly shouted and jumped out of Yizan's arms. Please respect yourself. Khalifa looked at Yizan and lowered her head. Okay, don't pretend. If you were really a secretary, can you use the 6 naval styles proficiently? Not everyone can do it. Apart from hard training, the most important thing is talent. Yizan said. Khalifa's eyes widened instantly. Yizan said, raising his eyebrows, do you think so? Khalifa of CP9. After hearing Yizan's words, he turned around and left. Shave. Khalifa screamed and left quickly. Nami looked at Yizan and said, Brother Zan, don't you chase it out. This really doesn't look like your style. Yizan shook his head. The warship I ordered is coming, and I need to receive it as Shimura-zan. We want to go too. Nami looked at Yizan and said softly. Okay. Yizan hugged Nami and twisted his body, already becoming Shimura-zan's identity. At the same time, the kitten that Kia transformed into came to Yizan from nowhere. Kia, your speed is getting faster and faster. Yizan praised the kitten in front of him. Of course. Kia responded proudly and jumped directly into Yizan's arms. Okay, let's go, it's time to set off. Yizan said, and left the place with the girls. Chapter 125-The Prison Break, of Belmer and Nakigo. A huge shadow hangs over the entire water capital. All the residents of the water capital were stunned to see their own existence that covered the sky and the sun, like a prehistoric beast crawling on the sea and staring at the water capital. Fright from the heart rose up in the depths of everyone's heart. What is this? A boat. What is the purpose of such a huge ship? Many people in the capital of water were stunned to look at the huge ships that the huge dock could not fit, and their eyes widened in disbelief. Originally, everyone did not know why the capital of water suddenly built such a huge dock for the purpose. But now I finally know. To make such a huge dock just to park such a huge ship is really messed up. Many people were talking about it. While everyone was talking, a man in a navy uniform appeared. With a gentle and warm smile on his face, he was holding a cute kitten in both hands. Behind him, 2 extremely beautiful women were chained and followed the man in the navy uniform. Some people in the water capital who knew the military rank looked at this gentle man in shock and swallowed a mouthful of spit. Navy, Major General. This person is none other than Yizan, and naturally Nami and Robin are behind him. So many people. Yizan looked at the crowd of people crowded outside the huge dock. His footsteps moved slightly, but he stepped in the air and walked up the steps, as if there was a person in the void. Invisible stairs are generally. Yizan's actions directly caused the eyes of the people who saw Yizan to widen. With the passage of time, Yizan's figure became taller and taller, and the noise became louder and louder. It's been a long time and I haven't pretended to be forceful. It's really good for physical and mental health, and I feel comfortable. Yizan looked at the surprised appearance of the many people below, and only felt as if he had eaten a popsicle in the dog days. Feet, one word, cool. Nami and Robin behind Yi-zan both looked at Yi-zan's high-profile appearance. Brother Zan, you seem to be a big cock now, or the kind of big cock with a fierce head. Little girl, do you know what your status is now? Criminal. Understand? Yi-zan said viciously to Nami. I don't understand, Nami said to Yi-zan deliberately. After hearing Nami's words, Yi-zan's hands moved slightly. Then, Nami felt that her body seemed to be touched by Yi-zan, and the familiar feeling came directly to Nami's heart. Nami shy Yuhi, and helped Robin. You know how powerful it is, right? Robin laughed at Nami's appearance. Nami did not refute, because several people had come to the huge dock. Major General Shimura-zan, these are all the parameters of this warship, please take a look. After Yi-zan came not far from the ship, a general handed the information to Yi-zan. Yi-zan nodded and looked at it casually. Major General, shall I imprison these two pirates? Yi-zan glanced at the speaker. Are you on my boat? The talking navy thought that Yi-zan was optimistic about himself, and hurriedly said, I have always admired you, but I am not qualified to come to this ship, so I can only volunteer to send the warship over. Yi-zan then nodded. That's good, you're not on my ship, so I'll have more peace of mind. Yi-zan's words surprised everyone around him. Yi-zan looked at the stunned navy and said helplessly, Man, you can do anything, you just can't be mindless. Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. There are too many things. I have to take these two people with me. In this case, Yi-zan will come here. Understand? Yi-zan's words made everyone suddenly realize. All of them looked at the male sea soldier who just spoke with a funny look. Okay, I understand the basic situation. It's not that all the people on this ship leave temporarily. I want to make some arrangements for this ship. Yi-zan said mercilessly. Got it. Yi-zan watched the departure of many sailors, and turned to look at the many people on board, all of whom were very beautiful and beautiful. When Yi-zan was about to say something. Boom! With a sound of broken chains, the chains on Nami and Robin broke instantly. Jail. Even Yi-zan was stunned by what happened suddenly. He looked at Nami and Robin subconsciously, and found two beautiful women. One woman was burning with purple-black arrogance, while the other had an illusory white line on her body. Nuaochigao, Belmer. Yi-zan looked at the two women suspiciously. Yi-zan's familiar words made the two women a little stunned. Oops, Nuaochigao, Belmer, he's Brother Zan. You were wrong. Robin immediately understood the actions of Nokigao and Belmer. They were here to rob the prison and save Nami and Robin who were captured by Shimura-gen. Belmer, Nuaochigao, you two idiots. Yi-zan reluctantly covered his forehead and found that the surrounding was surrounded by navy. No way, don't look at the fact that there are not many people on this warship, but Yi-zan dares to say with great certainty that almost all of them are die-hard navy loyalists. As for the remaining individual soldiers, there may be other forces in the eye. The appearance of Shimura-zan had a huge impact. Such high-end combat power could even change the trend of the entire world. As a result, almost all the major forces arranged people on this ship. And now, there is such a thing as prison robbery. No matter how good the excuse is, unless you kill Nuaochigao or Belmer, it will definitely arouse everyone's suspicion. Sorry, Brother Zan, we don't know. Nuaochigao and Belmer looked at Yi-zan with remorse. Yi-zan looked at the two women's self-blame and shook his head. Okay, it's alright, it's not a big deal. Just let these people forget about all these things. Anyway, I will impose demonic illusion on these people sooner or later. This is a good time to save trouble. Yi-zan comforted Nuaochigao and Belmer and said so. The two women looked at Yi-zan and said, Is it really okay? It's alright, if you're really feeling bad, let's do something we love tonight. Yi-zan's words made Nuaochigao and Belmer instantly shy Yuhi. However, you two are doing a good job in devil fruit cultivation now. Yi-zan praised Nuaochigao and Belmer as he looked at them. That's natural. Chapter 126 _ in a word. Yizan used demonic illusion to stun everyone who saw Belmer and Nuochigao, and modified their memories. These seemingly difficult things were easy for Yizan. On the other hand, Luffy came to the hut where Frankie was. "What did you say? You're not building a boat for us anymore?" Luffy asked in shock, looking at Frankie. "Yes." Frankie nodded without even raising his head, staring intently at the work in his hands. For a long time, Frankie had a wish to use the treasure tree atom to build a boat, and now it is finally fulfilled. "Where can I take care of Luffy?" And Luffy was about to say something. Zoro suddenly broke into Frankie's hut. "Sauron, you're here and lost again." Luffy looked at Sauron, and a smile cracked at the corner of his mouth. "Luffy, come with me." Zoro grabbed Luffy involuntarily and was about to leave Frankie's hut. Luffy looked at Zoro. "What are you doing?" "I want Frankie to help me build a boat." Luffy's eyes widened as he spoke. Behind Luffy, Sanji said strangely, "What's wrong 30? What's wrong?" As Sanji appeared from behind Luffy, Sanji stared blankly at the shadows covering the sky in disbelief. "What is this?" Sanji opened his mouth blankly. "Did you see it? Handsome," Zoro said to Luffy and Sanji, who came out. "I don't know whose ship this is, it just docked in the dock of the water capital." Both of them nodded dumbly, not knowing what to say, just nodded dumbly. After a while, "I've decided, I'm going to buy this ship," Luffy said to Sanji and Zoro. "Yeah," Sanji and Zoro nodded directly as they watched the fun and didn't think it was a big deal. As a result, several people headed towards the warship where Yizan was. And before Luffy and the others walked to the warship where Yizan was, they heard everyone discussing this warship. Shimura Zan's. Luffy and the others were completely dumbfounded. Shimura Gen. That was an existence that he and others saw and was about to run away, and now. "Looks like you want it." Luffy stared at the ferocious and domineering warship that was crawling on the sea like a prehistoric beast. "Luffy, we can go to Yizan." Sanji looked at Luffy and wanted this domineering and powerful warship. Well, everyone including Luffy didn't care about this warship, even if it was given to himself and others, he and others couldn't drive away. For such a huge warship, there are not one or two people who need to be manipulated. "Yizan." Luffy looked at Sanji strangely and said, "Didn't Yizan say that he and Shimura-zan are not going to continue fighting?" Sanji said, "I heard someone say just now that Shimura-zan wants to fight Yizan. Even if Yizan doesn't fight Shimura-zan, it's not possible, he will be forced to fight, right?" Sanji's words made Luffy look at Zoro. "Zoro, what do you think?" "Done. Such a ship is very handsome to drive." Zoro also cracked a smile and said to Luffy. "Yeah, that's the decision." Following Luffy's words, Luffy and the others began to look for Yizan in the capital of water. CP9 sighed. Khalifa came to the gathering place of CP9. It has been confirmed that Nami and Robin beside Yizan were caught by Shimura-zan again. It is estimated that Yizan will appear on that warship soon. Khalifa said to everyone, "However, I don't know what Yizan means, but after he knew my identity, he didn't do anything. I guess. Lecherous, right?" Lucci guessed. "Yizan's lewdness is the shortcoming that the Navy headquarters told us. It is said that he can do some very incredible things for beauty, and you can explain it. After the task on Yizan's side is completed, we also have some clues about Hades. If we do these two things well, we can stop doing these dangerous things, right?" Lucci continued. "Well, yeah." The eyes of everyone in CP9 were full of longing. At this time, the voice of a phone bug interrupted everyone's thoughts. "Hello." Khalifa looked at her phone bug and picked it up. As Khalifa, Yizan's words made everyone in CP9 look at Khalifa nervously. "Well, what are you looking for me for? You already know my identity, so what's the use of giving me the phone?" Khalifa said tentatively. Yizan's teasing voice sounded. "Khalifa-chan, don't be so indifferent, let me tell you good news, I know the goal of your mission." Everyone in CP9 looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Khalifa also laughed dryly. Mission target. Yeah, the ancient weapon Pluto. Aren't you looking for this thing? Yi Xuanfang's light-hearted words shocked everyone in CP9. What are you talking about? Why can't I understand 897? Khalifa sat struggling for the last time. Yizan said casually. Okay, I won't tell you anything else. The blueprint of the ancient weapon Hades is on Frankie, you can get it. Yizan's words made Khalifa and others look at each other, and they all saw the shock in each other's eyes. How did you know? Khalifa asked in surprise. You don't need to worry about this. In short, that's it. I have something to say, so I won't say more. Yizan said, and hung up the phone bug directly. In situ. Khalifa and the others looked at each other. How did he know? Yizan's news, but everyone has no doubts. After all, everyone in CP9 has almost confirmed this matter. Now Yizan's words only make everyone more certain. It doesn't matter, we just need to get the design of Hades, and the rest is not something we should worry about. Khalifa waved his hands casually and said to the crowd. Many chaotic things intertwined, making Khalifa confused. But Lu Qi shook his head. No, this matter is probably not that simple, the devil Yizan. The power is urgent. I am going to tell the marshal directly about this, and let the marshal give the next order. Chapter 127-self-directed. No, this matter is probably not that simple, the devil Yizan. The matter is urgent. I am going to tell the marshal directly about this matter and let the marshal give the next order. Lu Qi's words made many members of CP9 look at Lu Qi in astonishment. Is this really going to be the case? If things don't get to that point, we're going to have a hard time. It's okay, after all, it's the devil Yizan, you can't take it too seriously. Following Lu Qi's words, Lu Qi took out a very secret and well-preserved phone bug. For a phone bug on the side of Marshal Sengoku in the Navy headquarters. Blue blue blue. Moses Moses. Sengoku casually took the phone bug. Then, it didn't take long for Sengoku's expression to slowly change from relaxed to serious. Well, I see, you did a good job. Sengoku nodded. Wait a minute, let me think about it. Sengoku said, and fell into a long thought. Time flies. A long time. The opposite CP9 almost thought that Sengoku had hung up the phone bug. The phone bug remembered Sengoku's words. CP9. Yes. Everyone in CP9 looked condensed. After arresting the owner of Hades' blueprint, I will try my best to question Hades' blueprint. If you fail, you will be allowed to kill the owner of Hades' blueprint. In any case, you cannot approach the battlefield of demons Yizan and Shimura-zan. No, be accurate. Said, to avoid the battlefield between the two, you are the only remaining powerful fighting force in the water capital, you will only interfere with Shimura-zan. Sengoku said solemnly, since the demon Yizan gave you this news, it must be because he wants you to participate in the battlefield. What is the matter with the demon Yizan's ability? We still don't know all about Akatsuki, but we can't. What you deny is the influence of your combat power on this battle, and I don't want you to cause trouble for Shimura-zan because of some weird abilities. Yes, I got it. Everyone in CP9 nodded quickly. Well, that's it, Sengoku said, hanging up the bug. After Sengoku hung up the phone bug, everyone in CP9 looked at each other and found the surprise in each other's eyes. I really didn't expect that the marshal would have such great vigilance against the demon Yizan. Khalifa said to the crowd at CP9, that Yizan, who looks like a pervert and a rogue, is so valued by the marshal. Khalifa's words made Lu Qi slowly shake his head. Don't underestimate the demon Yizan. That is an existence that can fight with many generals, and can kill generals under the eyes of everyone. It doesn't matter, Khalifa said to Lu Qi. It's just a satyr anyway. By the way, let's go to Frankie and get the Hades blueprint. Everyone nodded and quickly went to Frankie's hut. And when everyone went to Frankie's hut, on the warship, Nami and the others looked at Yizan. Brother Zan, are you really okay with this? What's good or bad? Yizan casually fiddled with the phone bug in his hand and said to Nami, once CP9 goes to catch Frankie, he will definitely conflict with Luffy and others. In this case, there will be a war with CP9, and then we will have a good show. Quote. If Yizan's words were to be heard by Sengoku or everyone in CP9, they would definitely be very speechless. Sengoku's side guessed Yizan's various purposes, but Sengoku and the others never thought that Yizan's purpose was just for fun, that's all. Other words, everyone didn't expect that Shimura-san and Yizan were actually the same person originally. It was just a farce that someone wrote, directed and acted when he was idle. However, this farce affected the whole world. It didn't take long for Yizan's arrangement to play a huge role. CP9 went directly to Frankie's hut, threatening everyone in Frankie's hut, and forced Frankie to hand over the Hades design. In the end, the helpless Frankie took out the design of Hades and burned it in front of everyone. Oh, it's burned. What a pity. In front of Yizan on the warship, a huge water mirror was playing everything on Frankie's side, while Yizan himself was hugging the girls leisurely and watching the live broadcast. Although Frankie burned the blueprint of Hades, the matter is not over yet. Let's go to Judicial Island, and take him there by the way. Lucci said to the CP9 crowd. The matter has basically come to an end here, we should leave as soon as possible, so as not to provoke the demon Yizan or Shimura-gen, it's troublesome to get into a fight. CP9's words made all the girls on Yizan's side look at Yizan. Hey, Brother Zan is hated. Yes. Yizan also looked at the people in CP9 strangely. Why did they leave in such a hurry? Is there any special reason? Yizan looked at the girls and said, demonic illusion has been arranged, and the environment of the prison is not bad. You should stay on this ship first. After I leave, this ship will go to Push City. However, you guys don't worry, I should be there soon. Yizan said. The figure changed, it has become his own appearance, and he left quickly. As for CP9, it was already taking the sea train to Judicial Island. On the sea train. Really, I didn't expect that. I gave you instructions like this, and you still didn't take Hades over in the end, and you still want me to come over in person. Yizan's voice sounded slowly, causing everyone in CP9 to quickly look at Yizan on alert. Who was protected by everyone in CP9, looked at Yizan in shock. It's you, didn't you make me a boat? How did you come here? Yizan slowly came to the crowd. Did you hear me? I let him take a boat, so can you let Frankie leave? Don't think about it. Khalifa directly blocked Yizan and said to Yizan. Chapter 128_suitable for secretary. Beauty, don't be so hot. You'll get old, Yizan said very seriously, but everyone looked at Yizan's hand. At this time, Yizan's guard was placed on Khalifa's lap. The legs in stockings are very beautiful, and they look even more attractive under the rubbing of Yizan's big evil hand. Let go, cried Khalifa. Don't let it go, unless you tell me where your destination is, Yizan said to Khalifa. Don't you know? Khalifa looked at Yizan with a sneer. Go lie to the ghost. Should I know? Yizan said. The hands on Khalifa's legs slowly moved towards Khalifa's ass. Enough is enough. Khalifa finally couldn't bear Yizan's lust. Her index fingers tightened. Finger gun. Khalifa said sharply, and stabbed her fingers towards Yizan's chest quickly. I see a ant hit it. Yizan's body twisted strangely, and he avoided Khalifa's attack at such a close distance. That terrified appearance really made people want to tear Yizan into 8 pieces. Come on together. By this time, Lucci could only face Yizan for a while. Judiciary Island will be here soon. At that time, the Navy will be able to completely arrest Yizan. Lucci thought so. And Lucci didn't know that when Yizan appeared on the sea train where CP9 was, the warship where Shimura-san was located suddenly began to sail slowly. The actions of Shimura-gen can definitely be regarded as pulling the trigger and moving the whole body. When Shimura-gen Khalifa's warship started sailing. Many forces understood his thoughts. After Shimura-san caught Nami and Robin, he did not continue to wait for the demon Yi-san in the water capital, worried about the spread of the battle, but took Nami and Robin directly to Judicial Island. With the door of justice, Shimura may not be able to win if he can't figure it out. Many forces thought so. No, can't let Shimura-san win, the navy can't continue to grow. This is what many pirates have seen. For a time, the entire high-level world of pirates was turbulent. Under this kind of turmoil, the battle between Ace and Blackbeard made the two 4 Emperor-level pirates, Whitebeard and Yuhifa, stop sleeping and start their own operations. And the situation that seemed to be extremely turbulent in the first place, with the intervention of the two 4 Emperor-level pirate groups, became even more confusing. However, Yi-san, who caused all this, calmly pretended to be forced, enjoying the feeling of nephrite in his arms. "You let me go," Khalifa said shyly. Now that Khalifa is no longer resisting, it has no effect anyway, and can only passively enjoy it. "Well, how do you say that? It's like that, since you can't resist, then enjoy it. Don't let it go." Yi-san looked at Khalifa with a smile, blocked Lucci and the others' attacks, and hooked his fingers at the panting crowd of CP9. "Go on, it's so weak, it won't work." Yi-san's words made the people of CP9 who were extremely tired again regain their spirits and attacked Yi-san. "A group of hot chickens," Yi-san said casually, and then looked at Khalifa in his arms. "Speaking of this, Khalifa, I still lack a secretary, as the so-called secretary has something to do." "Nothing to do, secretary, this life is quite good." Yi-san approached Khalifa. "How is it? Are you interested?" "You are interested," Khalifa shouted. "Let go of me. I won't be your secretary." "Well, since you agreed, you will be my Xiaomi from now on." Yi-san's words made Khalifa shout. "When did you hear me agree?" "Ah, didn't agree. Don't agree, I'll just agree anyway." Yi-san waved his hand casually, ignoring Khalifa's words. Everyone looked at Yi-san speechlessly. Demon Yi-san, whether it is a legend, a title, or a record, no matter what, it makes people feel scared. But why didn't everyone in CP9 feel a little scared when they looked at Yi-san? Although everyone in CP9 also knows that Yi-san is very powerful, really powerful, and needs to be taken seriously, but I don't know why I and others have a kind of rush to play. The doubts in the hearts of the CP9 people are actually known to the CP9 people, that is, I and others are too weak. Yi-san has been playing with myself and others, but this result is not what the CP9 people are willing to accept. Impossible, how is this possible? Ignoring the various reactions of CP9 and others, Yi-san casually took Khalifa and sat in a seat on the C train, and said to Khalifa, "Xiaomi, why haven't you been there for so long?" "What?" Khalifa twisted her body shyly. She was only slightly shy, but sitting in Yi-san's arms like this. Khalifa felt at a loss against the thing on her buttocks. After all, she was just a pure little girl who had never experienced anything between men and women. "Let me go, let me down." Khalifa struggled. "Don't move." Yi-san looked at Khalifa seriously. "Otherwise, I can't help it. I will do some things that are not suitable for children." Hee. Yi-san's words made Khalifa immediately freeze in Yi-san's arms, while Yi-san put his hands on Khalifa. "It's really a person suitable for being a secretary. This figure can really be compared to Nami Robin," Yi-san said casually. Hearing Yi-san talking about Nami and Robin, Khalifa said to Yi-san, "By the way, why didn't you save Nami and Robin? They have been captured by Shimura-san." Yi-san looked at everyone suspiciously. "Ah. Don't you know, I'm here to save Nami and Robin. Nami and Robin have been sent to Judicial Island, don't you have to go too? So, I took a ride by the way." Yi-san's words caused everyone in CP9 to widen their eyes in shock. Sengoku's order immediately appeared in the minds of everyone in CP9, but he and others received clear instructions not to participate in the battle between Yi-san and Shimura-san. Chapter 129 _ Desperate Khalifa, bullied. On the C train, CP9 and the others looked at Yizan with dumbfounded expressions. Why did you and others take Frankie on the C train so hard? Boss, can we go back? Kaku asked Lu Qi with a sad face. Lu Qi nodded. I also want to go back, so. Can we go back? Tilda. Yizan looked at Lu Qi with a smile. Go back if you want. I'm not a trafficker, I won't let you leave. Yizan's words made everyone in CP9 breathe a sigh of relief. Go and tell the conductor of the C train to return the C train. Khalifa was on the side, looking at everyone. That. I have to tell you something. Although the C train is convenient, because it has just been built, there is only one railroad track. It can only go, or go back, but cannot go back and forth. Khalifa's words made everyone's eyes widen in shock, and then they turned to Yizan. Ah lie, I finally found it. That's right, the C train can't make a U-turn. It's a pity that you have been in the water capital for so long, and you have forgotten even this most basic thing. Yizan sat slowly. On the other hand, I don't know when I held Khalifa in my arms and said to the rest of CP9. Quote. It's over, it's over. It's completely over. Order from the marshal himself. It's over. Many members of CP9 said in a hurry. What are they doing? Stupid and stupid. Yizan's words made Khalifa, who was stiff in Yizan's arms, shout to Yizan. It's not because of you. Do you know that Marshal Sengoku personally ordered us not to participate in the battle between you and Shimura-san? You, tell us why we are doing this. Khalifa's words made Yizan shake his head. I don't know, aren't you my secretary? This matter has nothing to do with you. I'm not your secretary, please don't be a hooligan. Khalifa looked at Yizan and said so. Well, I'm not a hooligan, I'm just unspoken rules. Yizan said with a smile. Take your hand away, bastard. Khalifa finally couldn't stand Yizan's provocation with her words and behavior, and got up and left Yizan's arms. Yizan looked at the crowd of CP9 and said to them, well, Sengoku's order. It is estimated that you must disobey. It is estimated that Shimura-san has sailed the ship to Judicial Island for a while. That is to say, very soon we will start facing each other. At that time, you will definitely not be able to leave the battlefield. Yizan's words made everyone look at each other and purse the corners of their mouths tightly. This is a clear disobedience to the orders of the Marshal Sengoku. Needless to say, the result will be very sad. Everyone in CP9 turned their attention to Lu Qi. The most powerful person in the CP9 crowd, Lu Qi has a good brain and has always been the core of CP9. Let's get off the C train. Lu Qi's words made everyone look at Lu Qi in surprise. Leave. Yes, leave. Lu Qi looked at the crowd and said, our strength can definitely wait at sea until the next C train arrives. Yizan looked at Lu Qi in amazement. As for this. Of course. Lu Qi fixedly looked at Yizan and said so. Yizan then looked at Lu Qi. It is indeed a legend for 100 years. It is indeed a CP9 without a defeat, cow. Yizan said this to Lu Qi. Yizan's words made Kaku look at Yizan and said, since you admire it, can you make us feel less uncomfortable? Of course, yes. Yizan nodded and said so. Yizan's words made everyone in CP9 look at Yizan in surprise. Is that so? Of course, it's just that I just want Khalifa to feel less uncomfortable alone. Yizan said with a smile. As for you, who cares about you? Yizan's words made everyone look at Yizan speechlessly. Although they had some feelings in their hearts, they still sighed Yizan's lust again. The end. Everyone in CP9 got off the C train, except for Khalifa. Khalifa struggled and looked at Yizan. What are you doing? What? As you can see, let you suffer less. Yizan said very sincerely. Really sincere, and really convincing if you don't watch the scene. However, if you see this scene, the whole person will be bad. Sitting next to Yizan was Khalifa, who was tied all over. And the person who put Khalifa in such a shameful appearance, needless to say, is naturally Yizan. As for why Khalifa became like this, it's very simple. Khalifa also wanted to get off the bus with everyone in CP9. Yizan said that it was absolutely impossible, so things became like this. You really are a bastard. Khalifa grinned and Kiba grinned at Yizan and shouted at Yizan. And Yizan also looked at Khalifa indifferently. Really? Yes. Khalifa looked at Yizan with certainty, expressing that she was more sure of her words than herself. Since I'm a bastard, should I do what a bastard should do? Yizan looked at Khalifa with a weird smile on his lips. Khalifa stepped back slightly and looked at Yizan. What do you want to do? Don't you know what I want to do? Yizan said as he approached Khalifa. You are sexual harassment. Khalifa looked at Yizan seriously. I'm not sexual harassment. Yizan looked at Khalifa with a sinister smile on the corner of his mouth. I'm a force to kill. You have a wife. Khalifa was finally scared when she realized that the situation was not good. She looked at Yizan pitifully, and her tone became a little weak. Yizan nodded and said, in addition to my wife, I also have Xiaomi. As the saying goes, I have nothing to do as a secretary. Yizan's words made Khalifa completely lose her mind to resist. She closed her eyes in despair and said to Yizan, the day I became CP9, I had the consciousness to face any difficulties, come if you want. But don't expect me to cooperate with you. Oh, Khalifa's words made Yizan's smile grow wider. Come on. What are you here for? I'm a gentleman. Well, a gentleman in every sense will never force a woman to do anything, hee hee. Quote. Chapter 130-kill spandom. As Yizan said, Yizan is a gentleman in various senses, lecherous, but Yizan really does not force women to do anything. Yizan slowly sat on the sea train and waited quietly. While Yizan was waiting, Luffy, Sanji Zoro and others watched the huge battleship leave, and they all grabbed a ship and chased after him. Up. Brother Zan, Luffy and the others have gone to Judicial Island. Yizan smiled when he heard the news from Nami and Robin. Oh, I'm really looking forward to how Luffy and the others will fight with CP9. Yizan said. CP9 and others will definitely not be a very pleasant thing in the sea. Therefore, after seeing Luffy and others' ships, they will definitely snatch them. At that time, CP9 will naturally conflict with Luffy and others. It's really a fun thing. Yizan's mouth evoked a wicked smile. Of course, the worst thing was the battle between Yizan and Shimura-zan. I've really become a pirate Joe Botong. I'm still having such a good time with myself. Yizan said with a smile. Time passed. When Yizan said this, on the other hand, Luffy really had a conflict with CP9. On the sea train, Yizan was in Khalifa's shocked sight. One hand was in the void, and a water mirror slowly appeared in front of Yizan and Khalifa. The battle between Luffy and CP9. What is this? Khalifa looked at Luffy and CP9's battle in surprise, and asked Yizan. This is what happened at this moment in CP9. Yizan explained slowly. Although Khalifa was a little surprised, at this time, Khalifa didn't have the heart to say anything to Yizan, and just watched the battle between CP9 and Luffy and others. Khalifa was surprised to find that CP9 was in a strange disadvantage. How is it possible? How can these people in the straw hats be so strong? Khalifa looked at the battle between Luffy and CP9 and others in surprise, and said to Yizan, what's going on? Did you instruct the people in the straw hats? Khalifa's guess made Yizan look at Khalifa strangely. Not bad, I can actually guess that Luffy was instructed by me. Yizan looked at the battle between Luffy and CP9 and others. This time, it should be regarded as one of the few high-intensity battles between Luffy and others after I instructed Luffy and others. In other words, the reason why I have been fighting with Luffy and others. You have played the house because I want you to be Luffy's whetstone. Yizan's words made Khalifa silent, and looked at Yizan fixedly. You are not stupid. Ah, Yizan looked at Khalifa strangely. Carly's rule was to slowly look at Yizan and said, how many lecherous people are mentally retarded? Ah. Yizan, a Byakugan, looked at Khalifa, who told that. Common sense. So, I always thought you were a fool. Khalifa looked at Yizan and said, but I didn't expect you to. What? Yizan looked at Khalifa with a smile and said, I'm not stupid. Khalifa looked at Yizan complicatedly. Not only is he not stupid, on the contrary, he is very smart. Khalifa looked at Yizan. Not even Marshal Sengoku thought that the reason you care about CP9 is because you want CP9 to be Luffy's whetstone, not because you want a CP9 to help you deal with Shimura-zan. Dealing with Shimura-zan. Ha ha ha, I am. As Yizan was speaking, the sea train suddenly stopped. It's Judiciary Island, Khalifa said, glancing out the window. Seeing this, Yizan had to get up and open the door of the sea train. Okay, since you have arrived at Judicial Island, let's go to Judicial Island to see and see. Yizan's words caused Khalifa to follow Yizan towards Judicial Island. Up to now, Khalifa can only watch Yizan closely to prevent some unexpected things from happening. Judiciary Island no entry. After Yizan just got off the sea train, an ugly man dressed in a strange costume and looking like a panda came to the front of Judicial Island, preventing Yizan from landing. Yizan looked at this person, and the arrogant look on the other's face made Yizan a little uncomfortable. Human, you have to have self-knowledge. Yizan looked at the man, with one hand already clenched. Of course he knew who the opponent was, the chief of Judiciary Island, a garbage with a combat power of only 5, Spandam. Seeing that Yizan was about to make a move, Khalifa just took a step back silently, trying her best not to let the person in front of Yizan pay attention to her. But, Khalifa, you are getting bolder and bolder. Don't you even listen to me. I am your chief. Now, Judicial Island prohibits outsiders from entering. Boom. With a muffled sound, Spandam screamed and flew out like a cannonball. Seeing the empty space in front of him, Yizan breathed a long sigh of relief. It's much more comfortable now, it's really annoying to chatter. Quote. Yizan said, holding Khalifa's hand, and walked into the Judiciary Island smartly. Do you know who I am? In the distance, Spandam was paralyzed in the ruins and said to Khalifa with difficulty, Khalifa, kill him for me. Damn. Oh, Yizan nodded, dodged, and came to the man. So, who are you? I'm Spandam, CP9 Feet's immediate boss. Spandam yelled at Yizan. Oh, got it. 3.1, Yizan nodded lightly and touched it casually. Puff. Blood splashed. Spandam completely lost his vitality. Looking at the other party's corpse, Yizan curled his lips in disdain, and continued to walk forward with Khalifa. Really, standing up again and again, do you think you is it the big villain? How can you kill it? Seeing Spandam's death, Carly Law said to Yizan anxiously, he is the chief of CP9, and the family is in charge of CP9. You, still in charge of the demon-slaying order, right? Yizan glanced at Khalifa indifferently. I forgot to tell you that his father, Spandane, was also killed by me. Yi Xuanfang's light-hearted words suddenly caused Khalifa's eyes to widen in shock. Chapter 131-Everything is Fake. The cause of Spandam's father's death has always been an extremely mysterious topic in CP9, but now, Carly Fa never imagined that the real situation turned out to be like this. It turned out to be. You did it. Khalifa was a little stunned. According to Yizan's strong strength and character, this kind of thing should not deceive himself. Khalifa thought silently. No, it's not right. That's the look many years ago. How old were you then? Khalifa retorted, but her disbelieving gaze made Yizan's mouth twitch into a smile. How old am I? Good question. Guess what? HMPH, 20 or 30 years old. How old are you? Khalifa looked at Yizan. Do you mean there are other possibilities? Ha ha ha, how old am I? This is a question. To be honest, how old I am, I don't know myself, but it's easy to be over 30 years old. You are a member of CP9. There should be some information about me, right? But, what about my age? Is it in the information of the Navy? No. Besides, my wanted order has been in the era of One Piece Roger. But, have you seen the photo on my wanted notice changed? Yizan said slowly. However, Yizan's slow words made Khalifa more and more shocked. In the end, her eyes widened in shock and looked at Yizan. How is this possible? Can you stay young forever? Won't you grow old? In Khalifa's shocked and envious eyes, Yizan nodded slightly. Not bad. How is it? Do you want it? Yizan's words made Khalifa nodded instantly. She didn't even think about it. There was no way. No woman could resist the temptation of not getting old. Many women would rather die in exchange for their eternal youth, such as modern times. Many of the plastic surgery accidents in China are caused by the abrupt operation that disregards the dissuasion, and the accident happens. I want it. Khalifa nodded without saying a word and looked at Yizan. Can you keep me young forever? Not only can you stay young forever, but you can also live forever. How is it? Are you interested? Yizan's tone was like that of a strange Shu-mi who deceived Xiao Loli, but Khalifa was like a little loli who was focusing on the lollipop in the hand of Wei Shu, looking at Yizan, hoping for Yizan's answer. During the Khalifa attack. Yizan nodded and said to Khalifa, but what? If you want to stay young forever, plus immortality, you can only be my woman. Being your woman, Khalifa pursed her lips hard, trying her best to endure her heart that she wanted to promise. When Yizan saw Khalifa's appearance, a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and a hand quietly wrapped around her water snake waist. Promise, think about it, as long as you promise, you can live forever, and you can always keep the youngest and most beautiful appearance. Yizan said slowly to Khalifa. Yizan's words made Khalifa's body tremble slightly. Not because of fear, nor because of excitement, but simply angry. Let go, big bastard, Khalifa yelled at Yizan. Looking at Yizan's big hand on her ass, she felt that her whole body was tickled by that big hand. Don't do this. Khalifa's cheeks became more and more shy when he found that Yizan would not let go. Originally, Khalifa didn't have much hatred for Yizan, but because of the order, she kept resisting Yizan. But it is undeniable that Yizan's domineering and gentle appearance towards women is really attractive to women. After such a period of experience with Yizan, Khalifa doesn't feel that she hates Yizan, and now Yizan's words of eternal youth and immortality have become the last straw that overwhelms the camel, making Khalifa completely there is no desire to resist Yizan anymore. The grumbling resistance just now can basically be ignored, it's just the girl's shy instinct. Okay, I'm not like this, Yizan said. The big hand on Khalifa's ass has been moved to Khalifa's murderer. What's the difference with you? Khalifa looked at Yizan and said, be careful of Shimurazan. Shimurazan will probably come to arrest you soon. Khalifa's words made Yizan smile instantly. I don't laugh. I really don't laugh. Yizan held back his laughter desperately, but the unconcealed smile still made Khalifa look at Yizan strangely. What's the matter? What are you laughing at? Shimurazan has hurt you many times. This time Shimurazan has hurt you many times. With the support of the Navy and even the Tianlong people, you must not take it lightly. Khalifa's serious and worried look made Yizan keep nodding his head. I see. Halfway through, Yizan suddenly burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. I can't help it anymore, I'm dying of laughter. Yizan's laugh made Ka 740 Lifa look at Yizan angrily. Enough is enough. Do you know that I'm worried about you? You're worried about me. You admit that you're worried about me. Yizan leaned in front of Khalifa with a wicked smile. The devil is worried about you. Khalifa turned her head aside and ignored Yizan. She was really angry. Okay, baby, don't be angry, actually. I'm Shimurazan. Yizan kissed Khalifa on the cheek badly, but Khalifa wiped her cheek angrily. Is it funny that you lied to me like this? Khalifa turned to look at Yizan, and when she was about to say something, her eyes widened instantly after seeing Yizan's appearance. At this time, in front of Khalifa herself, there was Yizan, a handsome man with a gentle and warm smile. Khalifa's eyes widened in shock, and she didn't know how she should react. Are you Shimurazan? Khalifa was dumbfounded and didn't know how she should react. The whole world is watching the battle between Shimura-san and Yi-san, and even the navy spent countless money in order for Shimura-san to defeat Yi-san. But, how is that possible? Everything is fake. Khalifa stared blankly at Yi-san's gentle smile and Shimura-san's appearance. Chapter 132 Khalifa was shocked again. No, you must have lied to me, right? Khalifa looked at Yi-san and said, if you continue to lie to me, I will ignore you again. Hey, I said I didn't lie to you. Yi-san cancelled the transformation technique and picked up Khalifa. Since you don't believe it, then I'll let you believe it and let you see how Shimura-san fought Yi-san. Yi-san said to Khalifa. Khalifa was instantly shy. Yuhi. Before this, can you please stop harassing me? I'm very troubled by you harassing me like this. Khalifa asked Yi-san to point to the sea in the distance. Don't make trouble, that warship is coming, I'll start acting as soon as I'm ready. It's you, don't make a fuss. Khalifa roared at Yi-san who was kicking back. Yi-san put Khalifa down. Okay, it's me, and then I'll let you see how Shimura-san and Yi-san fought. Yi-san said, using a shadow clone, and then his own body became Shimura-san again. Come on, go to the warship, and meet your future sisters. Yi-san's words, Khalifa then remembered that there seemed to be Nami, Robin, Alvia, Marina, Kia and other women beside Yi-san. Thinking of this, Khalifa subconsciously looked at her fierceness. Originally, Khalifa was quite confident about her appearance, but Yi-san's women are all beauties among beauties. Oh, there is also a Hancock, who is also Yi-san's woman in the Navy profile. Yi-san looked at Khalifa's worried look and asked strangely, what's wrong? You said, I am not as beautiful as your other women, will you dislike me in the future? Khalifa's words made Yi-san's mouth crack into a smile. Khalifa, you are in my heart, you are the moon in the sky, I and the others, like you as much. Really? Of course it's true. Well, don't think too much, baby, go to the warship first. After Yi-san finished speaking, he had transformed into Shimura-san and took Khalifa to the place where the warship was. When Yi-san started acting as himself and Shimura-san, Luffy's battle with CP9 was over. The result was naturally that Luffy won, but even though Luffy and others won, they won very badly, because the ship that Luffy and others were riding on was declared damaged during the battle between Luffy and CP9 and others. Luffy looked at the crowd and said, we can't use it now, right? Who told you not to let the boat go? Does it make sense for you to rob our ship? In this way, everyone fought a war of words again, but this time everyone did not continue to fight. There was no way, until this time, everyone had no spare energy to continue fighting. Luffy and the others fought a war of words with CP9. In Yi-san's warship, Khalifa's eyes widened, watching the orderly sailors on the whole ship, and quietly came to Yi-san's side. Aren't you worried about your identity being exposed? So many Navy soldiers are definitely powerful existences, so you probably don't feel well, right? Quote. It's okay, Yi-san said casually. These people, you can consider them all mine. Yi-san said, looking at the Nami Robin girls who appeared from the room. Nami, Robin, Marina, Alvia, and Koya. Get to know you, Khalifa from CP9, and in the future, my secretary. Hello. Robin smiled and nodded. And Nami said to Yi-san, yeah, isn't it your favorite secretary when you have something to do? Nami said, came to Khalifa's side, and said to Khalifa, Khalifa, listen to me, you must never dedicate yourself to Yi-san in the future. As Nami spoke, she pulled Khalifa and began to whisper some words. And Robin came to Yi-san's side and said to Yi-san, Brother Zan, since there is a secretary, then I will leave my affairs to Khalifa in the future, and I can read books with peace of mind. Yi-san picked up Robin and said, this can't be done, you are my precious secretary, you are the main secretary in the future, you are the secretary, Khalifa is the deputy secretary, in various senses. Yi-san's words made Robin look ashamed. Yuhi, Brother Zan is a bad guy. I'll ignore you, I'm going to Nami's side. As Robin said, he had already left Yizan's embrace. Yizan looked at the way the girls were whispering together. A cute bell appeared in his hand, and the small bell was engraved with the engraving of the technique of Hiraishin. Ding! As Yizan shook the bell in his hand, Kia suddenly flashed from not far away, and instantly came to Yizan's arms. Brother Zan, are you going to act again? Yizan looked at Kaya in his arms, smiled and nodded. Life is like a play, it all depends on acting skills. Following Yizan's words, Yizan put on the Navy's cape, hugged Kaya, who had turned into a kitten, and walked out of the warship. Outside the warship, Shadow Clone Yizan had long been waiting on Judicial Island. Brother Zan is going to start acting again. Let's go and have a look. Every time I see Brother Zan's battle, although I know it's acting, I still feel frightened. That kind of powerful battle still makes me feel incredible. Robin said, and everyone together, we went to the deck. Cut. In this scene, you didn't see the battle between Dad and Kagaya. Marina pouted, Olivia blinked her eyes suspiciously, and followed the girls to the deck. Khalifa looked at the reaction of the girls strangely. Although she didn't understand why the girls wanted to see Yizan's acting, she followed. When the girls appeared on the deck, Shadow Clone Yizan was already fighting with Shimura Zan, who changed Yizan's body. In the sky, a huge blue figure made Khalifa's eyes widen in horror, and her mouth opened in disbelief. This is Yizan's fighting power. Khalifa stared blankly at the huge blue figure and asked in disbelief. This is Brother Zan playing. Brother Zan's power control will not have such a huge power to escape at all, but to concentrate the power together, so the scene of Brother Zan's real battle is actually not grand. However, that kind of attack is the most deadly. You can think about the powerful destructive power that such a huge human attack, if concentrated at one point. Quote. Robin slowly explained to Khalifa. However, Robin's explanation made Khalifa feel even more shocked. This powerful existence, the Navy, does it really have hope of victory? Chapter 133_Laboom's acting. Because the Navy and the world government had already received the news, when Yizan and Shimura Zan fought, a large number of ships appeared on the sea in the distance, and the ships were full of reporters carrying cameras. It didn't take long for a live broadcast about Yizan and Shimura Zan to start showing throughout the One Piece world. Khalifa stood beside the girls. She didn't feel anything at first, but, after knowing that Shimura Zan and Yizan are the same person, watching this live broadcast, how do you feel? Awkward? How do you see it? Smells like a weird joke. Khalifa watched Yizan and Shimura Zan's battle speechlessly, and said to the people around him, he is really boring, so he fights himself like this. Robin looked at the picture directed and acted by Yizan, and said to Khalifa, who knows? Maybe there is another deep meaning. Many times, if you haven't reached that height, you naturally don't know what people at that height are thinking about. Even if we were his women. Quote. Robin's words made Khalifa also slightly stunned, thinking of his previous guess about Yizan's fool. 320 But, what is the purpose of such a thing? Khalifa looked at Robin strangely and asked. I don't know, Robin said neatly. Boom. A huge roar sounded. Everyone once again turned their attention to Judicial Island. But, to be honest, the girls really don't see anything in this battle. This battle is a battle of standard strength and speed, a huge chakra giant and a shadow who can hardly see a shadow. The huge pale blue figure was Yizan's face, and the black figure was Shimura Zan's face. Boom. The roar sounded one after another, and the camera couldn't capture Shimura Zan's figure at all. Everyone could only guess what happened on the entire battlefield through the moving figure and the huge blue figure. And if you can really see the presence of Yizan's masters, you will find that the battle between the two is not so much a battle as it is a destruction, and no grass grows wherever they pass. Yes, what Yizan is doing is sabotage. Although the Judiciary Island has no substantive role, it is just a spare job of spandom. However, the reason why Judicial Island is famous is actually because of the other two places that are as famous as Judiciary Island, the Deep Sea. Grand Prison Advanced City and Naval Headquarters. Destroy this place, and then, in the next top battle, you can occupy certain favorable conditions. Yizan thought of this, and the powerful ultimate moves in his hands were released even more vigorously. And when Yizan made a fuss on Judiciary Island, Luffy fixedly watched the terrifying scene with a look of surprise in his eyes. For the strong, every man has a kind of worship in his heart, and Luffy does the same. I must become as strong as Yizan Shimura-zan. Luffy said his declaration to everyone. Well, yes, Luffy, that's what it is. Sanji and Zoro looked supportive. CP9 on one side just looked at Luffy and the others with dumbfounded expressions, and had to sigh, Luffy's heart is really big. At the same time, inside the Judicial Island, countless heroic shouts, accompanied by countless beautifully dressed female soldiers, came towards the battlefield. Kill. Almost instantly, the huge blue giant stopped moving quickly, and then, the huge figure shrank rapidly, and soon turned into Yizan's figure. Wow, beauties, how are you? Yizan said quickly to the many female soldiers who appeared on the field. Spearmen. With a coquettish shout, a pair of female soldiers quickly appeared, then knelt down neatly and raised their guns. Blah blah. Bullets attacked Yizan quickly. Yizan grabbed a few bullets at random, and found that these bullets were all mixed with Heilushi. Physical forces, come on. Another snort. This time, some women in strong suits attacked Yizan quickly. Sisters, let's have a thrilling battle. Yizan smiled, and quickly prepared to go towards the many female marines. Opportunity. Yizan's body changed, Shimura shouted, and quickly attacked Shadow Clone. There was no way. Yizan wanted to experience the feeling of fighting against many girls, but he didn't want to let the clone experience it. Release the clone and feed back to yourself. Shadow Clone rolled his eyes at Yizan. As Yizan's Shadow Clone, he was naturally very aware of Yizan's own thoughts. Moving Earth Core. Following a huge subsidence, Yizan and Shimura-zan entered the subsidence at the same time. Boom. With a huge roar, the ground was blasted open, and the large and small clods blocked everyone's sight. Taking this opportunity, Yizan immediately released the transformation technique, and Shadow Clone became the appearance of Shimura-zan. And then it's time for Labang to appear. Yizan smiled, his knees bent, and the ground shot out, like a bomb, extremely dazzling. Blah blah blah. There were a few violent fist bumps, and along with the sound of the air being torn apart, everyone looked into the air. Come around. Following a command, many female marines slowly moved towards the battlefield of Yizan and Shadow Clone. Don't come here, Shimura-zan and Yizan shouted at the same time, dangerous. But many female sailors seemed to have not seen it and attacked Yizan. As expected, Yizan's mouth cracked into a smile, and after confronting his Shadow Clone Shimura-zan, the two quickly separated. And many female marines surrounded Yizan in an instant. Wow, it's so comfortable. Yizan casually resisted the attack of the close-fitting female marines, and quietly touched the bodies of various female marines with both hands. Tisk tisk, as expected of the Navy, the figure is so good. It's comfortable. Yizan laughed and had a good time, but at this moment, a figure suddenly attacked Yizan. I'm going. So ugly. Yizan was stunned. The one who suddenly attacked him was a very ugly woman, who was among a group of beautiful female soldiers to assassinate him. Chapter 134 _ The Mysterious Weapon on the King. In Yizan's exclamation, the female sea soldier instantly condensed purple-black domineering, and attacked Yizan. A green-purple dagger appeared in her hand, which was obviously quenched with a very violent poison. Yizan, who was teasing with many female Navy soldiers, didn't seem to have any defenses. In fact, he was always on guard. After all, these female Navy soldiers were all from the Navy, and at the moment when the assassination appeared, Yizan disappeared in the original place almost at the same time. The ground instantly appeared behind the ugly woman, and a bloodstain appeared on the ugly woman's neck. Just a face-to-face, woman, death. Sneak attack. Not to mention getting a pretty girl. Yizan said, shaking the blood in his hands casually. Prepare, the devil fruit-capable person is ready to approach. Following the command, the mobility of the large number of female marines was not weak at all. However, Yizan was also happy to enjoy the woman who was passing by like a galloping flower by his side, standing excitedly. This is really a life like heaven. Yizan's mouth cracked into a bright smile. Yizan was playing, and he wanted to keep playing like this. It's supposed to be a way to get the Navy to continue this behavior. It's really good Yizan thought. Soon. Yizan, come out, what kind of hero are you hiding behind a woman? Shimura-zan shouted in midair, looking at Yizan who was surrounded by many female marines. Yizan narrowed his eyes comfortably and said to Shimura-zan in the sky, with so many women, I would rather not be a hero, tisk tisk, it's really comfortable. As Yizan said, he casually brushed the bodies of several women, causing a shy Yuhi look on the solemn and pretty faces of these sonorous roses. Yizan and Shadow Clone, Shimura-zan, spread directly throughout the One Piece world with the live broadcast. In an instant, everyone in the One Piece world knew about Yizan's problem, lust. However, compared with the different ideas of some major forces, more ordinary people's beauties looked at Yizan in the live broadcast with blurred eyes. For a long time, Yizan's title was, the Devil, feared by all the people. And this time, Yizan's appearance has conquered the hearts of a large number of beauties. After all, as the so-called beauty loves heroes, Yizan is also such a strong person. Such a problem directly hit the hearts of most beauties. No, I can't, I will be a die-hard fan of Yizan from now on. At this moment, too many beauties had such an idea in their hearts, and even some female marines were moved by Yizan's declaration. This is the time, the final beheading force, come on. Following these words, several women with hot bodies and beautiful looks held a long weapon with a strange shape in their hands, and surrounded Yizan directly. The Expendables, go up and hold him. Following these words, two women whose looks and figure were even comparable to Hancock and his class instantly hugged Yizan. When Yizan saw this, not only did he not panic, on the contrary, he was extremely happy. Really dozed off on a pillow. Hey, what are you doing? Let go. Yizan hurriedly shouted. You are all ordinary women who are powerless, I will hurt you, let go. Yizan's words made many women watching the live broadcast look at Yizan worriedly. Hurry up and escape. When many beauties think about this. Boom blah blah. Several women who had been holding that weird long weapon directly stabbed Yizan with the long weapon through the beautiful woman hugging Yizan. You, what are you doing? The beautiful woman holding Yizan stared blankly at Yizan. I don't know when. The woman holding Yizan was instead protected by Yizan in his arms, blocking the many long weapons that were going to stab Yizan through the woman, and as a price, many long weapons pierced into Yizan's body. Well, in fact, this is Yizan's own bitter plan. The opposite of Yizan's lust is how well Yizan understands girls. Girls have motherhood, and he is injured like this. Hee hee. Why are you doing this? The woman protected by Yizan looked at the long weapon that stabbed Yizan in disbelief, and said dumbly. As a person, I just can't think of a beautiful girl like you getting hurt in front of me. Yizan's words were directly known to Akatsuki by all the girls in the One Piece world through the live broadcast. At this moment, too many girls left moved and sad tears. At this moment, Yizan's fancy style captured the hearts of too many girls. However, compared to Yizan's pretentious hands, Yizan soon became hard. What's the matter? Yizan looked at the strange long weapons that were stabbing him in surprise, and found that his power was flowing towards these long weapons. Yizan quickly pulled several long weapons out of his body, and at the moment when Yizan pulled out these long weapons, a dizzying humming sound rang out. Several long weapons emit an extremely dazzling light. At the same time, the Navy executives watching the battle looked at the terrifying light in surprise, What a terrifying power, it only pierced for such a short period of time, and it turned out to be like this. Yeah, this is the part that was removed from the ancient weapon, Tianwang, and it turned out to be. But, this is not bad. According to this development sequence, it is estimated that it will not be long before the King of Heaven can be reactivated, right? Yizan didn't know the words of these people. If Yizan knew, he would definitely not act like this. The most mysterious ancient weapon in the world of One Piece, the King of Heaven. This is a weapon that even Yizan does not understand. Among the ancient weapons, Pluto is known as the worst warship, and a single shot can destroy the existence of an island. And Neptune is a white star, and the ability to control all Neptunes is already terrifying enough. As for the King of Heaven, it is the most mysterious weapon in ancient weapons. Now it has been activated again because of Yizan. Chapter 135_Zaluria Palace. Yizan. Stop fighting. Run away. Many of the female people watching the battle were praying for this sentence in their hearts. The high-level officials of the Navy headquarters seemed to have heard the prayers of many beauties. It's time to retreat. With this command. Retreat. The girls methodically withdrew from the almost destroyed Judicial Island. On the spot, Yizan looked at the wound on his body that was stabbed by those strange long weapons just now. The wound was squirming, his body's self-healing ability was extremely powerful, and he kept trying to heal the wound, but there seemed to be a mysterious force preventing Yizan's healing, and now the wound has only healed slightly. It seems that the identity of Shimura-zan is needed to check what happened to the previous things. Yizan pondered slowly. When Yizan was thinking about this, Shimura-zan came to Yizan, with purple-black domineering all over his body. You are really good. Although you are an enemy, I have to admire your love for women. This time, the person you protected the Navy was injured. I will not take advantage of the danger. Shimura-zan confronted Yi after Zan said this. He turned around and left. I hope you don't avoid fighting next time. I will definitely defeat you, and then arrest you in the deep-sea prison. As Shimura-zan said, he quickly left the place and headed for the warship. Yizan, on the other hand, looked at the wound that healed slowly even though it was no longer bleeding. He was silent for a while, and turned to leave. This battle is over. However, the impact of this battle goes far beyond that. The first influence, and the biggest influence on Yizan, is that Yizan's weight in the hearts of women, especially beauties, is completely different. Not long after this battle ended, some beauties who watched the battle together had formed an existence similar to an alliance, quietly supporting Yizan. The second effect was those weird long weapons that caused Yizan to be injured. Holy Land Mary Joa. A part of the Tianlong people looked at the 5 old stars in front of them, and Sengoku, the marshal of the Navy headquarters. I didn't expect Tianwang's components to be activated so quickly. Now, it's time to determine the user of Tianwang. Is your candidate in the world government or the naval government? The Tenryu looked at the 5 old stars and Marshal Sengoku in front of him and said so. This is the data. Wu Laoxing quickly handed some of the information to the Tianlong people. And Sengoku also followed closely and handed out some thin information. After Tianlong looked at it, he frowned slightly. At this time, a woman from a branch of the Tianlong people stood up. Zalulia Palace is willing to personally take charge of the ancient weapon king and defeat Yizan. This woman is none other than Zalulia Palace, the female Tianlong family of the Tianlong family who clashed with Luffy and his group in the Chambord archipelago, causing Luffy and the others to clash with the Tianlongren. Of course, the idea of Shalulia Palace itself is that it must be very good to have a slave like Yizan. As long as I get the right to use the king, it will not be a very simple matter to arrest Yizan. After catching Yizan, he can turn him into a slave. Shalulia Palace didn't know how huge the impact of her standing up was. The strength of Yizan's body, plus the ancient weapon king, the combination of these two, if you do not get it right, will produce some incredible things. Okay, since you're willing, then it's even better. Tianlongren said, and directly left the information given by Wu Laoxing and Sengoku to the side at will, and said to Zalulia Palace, "You prepare, come down. Accept the king." The matter of the Holy Land Mary Hoya did not affect Yi Zan. At this time, Yi Xuanzheng frowned tightly and looked at the order in his hand. "HMPH, you want to leave me behind and cultivate another master?" Yi Zan sneered while looking at the order in his hand. "Can my strength be cultivated so well?" The order in Yi Zan's hand was given to Yi Zan by the Navy headquarters. To be precise, it was given to Shimura Gen by the Navy headquarters. Shimura Zan a few beautiful and extremely talented women, so that Shimura Zan can cultivate and become a powerful fighting force that can kill Yi Zan. "Khalifa, do you think this is fun?" Yi Zan casually gave Khalifa the order in his hand, then turned to Nuochigao and Belmer and said, "You two prepare to return to the Navy headquarters, investigate what happened to those long weapons that hurt me. And bring the blueprints of Hades to the Navy headquarters." Yi Zan's words made everyone look at Yi Zan in shock. What? Bring the blueprint of Hades to the Navy headquarters, and at the same time, prepare to kill Sengoku. Yi Zan's eyes were rarely cold. "The weapon that attacked me before had an extremely terrifying power. I always feel like something is going to happen and I'm ready to let the plan go ahead." Yi Zan's words made the girls even more strange. "Then, why did you give the blueprint of Hades to the Navy headquarters?" Nami looked at Yi Zan and asked, "The Hades is the worst ship that can destroy an island with one shot." Wait. Khalifa spoke for a while after the women's words, and then she had time to interject. "You said just now, the blueprint of Hades. Wasn't the blueprint of Hades burnt?" "It's relatively simple to just restore the blueprint of a burnt Pluto design," Yi Zan explained casually and said to the girls, "You don't need to worry about this matter." In short, 4.0 will hand over the Pluto design to the girls. Naval headquarters, this credit is enough to make Nuochigao and Belmayer at least lieutenant generals. Yi Zan took a deep breath, and then his eyes suddenly widened. "Then it is, kill Sengoku." Yi Zan's words made all the girls a little stunned. Why did Yi Zan do something that the girls felt that they couldn't accept it? Yi Zan thought for a while, took out a bell, shook it, and a flash of Horaitian logo appeared on it. Brother Zan. Kia, who turned into a kitten, flashed and appeared in front of Yi Zan. "Tell Hancock that the amount of devil fruit trading can be relaxed a little bit, especially for Guy Duo of the Four Emperors and Brother Doflamingo of Chihuahai." Yi Zan instructed Kia slowly, pondering. "Got it." Chapter 136_Luffy almost crashed. Time passed slowly. It's been a while since the Battle of Justice Island. Yi Zan's affairs did not fade with the passage of time, on the contrary, there was an intensifying trend. Yi Zan's Judicial Island incident made too many beauties have a different kind of feeling for Yi Zan. And although the Navy knew about this, it was too late to regret it, and they could only pin their hopes on that, the ancient weapon king. When the Navy was busy arranging things about Yi Zan, no one noticed that in the dark world, a large number of devil fruits began to circulate. Yi Zan, who was in charge of everything, watched Frankie's successful ship in the water capital and nodded with satisfaction. Yes. The ship in front of Yi Zan was similar to the Sunshine Mile, but it was slightly larger than the Sunshine Mile, and it suddenly seemed to be split into 2.5 layers. As for why there is such a strange style, it is naturally caused by Yi Zan's male and female divisions. Yi Xuanlian took Nami, Robin and Khalifa to the 3rd floor of the 2nd and half floors. As for the 30th floor, it is Luffy, Sanji and Zoro. "Yi Zan, I didn't expect you to make this ship," Luffy said as he came to Yi Zan with a shy face. "Yeah." Yi Zan pretended not to know Luffy's meaning, looked at the boat in front of him and said, "Your boat is not very good, you still have trouble all day. This time, I will just make a boat myself, and now wouldn't it be better to have Robin on it together?" Yi Zan's smiling words left Luffy scratching his head and not knowing what to say. Sanji looked at Yi Zan and said, "As of now, we haven't kept a secret, we want your boat." "Oh, I want my boat. That's easy." Yi Zan looked at Luffy and said, my boat is 1,000,000,000 Baileys in total. I won't add any more money for the sake of our acquaintance. Pay the bill. Yizan stretched out his hand wickedly. Well, I don't have any money, but I can owe it first and wait until I become the Pirate King, okay? Luffy looked at Yizan pitifully. No, you are too weak now, I'm not telling you, you are still far from One Piece. When you encounter high-end combat power, you can only escape with your tail between your legs. Yizan said to Luffy mercilessly. Then what do you want? Luffy can see that now, Yizan didn't want to give him this ship, but wanted to make fun of himself. Yizan looked at Luffy with a smile on the corner of his mouth. He had been waiting for this sentence for a long time. Want this ship? Simple. Yizan came to Luffy's ear and said a few words to Luffy. Well, that's it, Yizan said to Luffy. Luffy shouted. Impossible. Forget it, Yizan said more neatly. Hearing Yizan's words, Luffy then looked at Yizan, not knowing what kind of reaction he should have. Okay, I will do it, but you can only be alone, Luffy said to Yizan. Easy to talk about. Yizan nodded. Then, inside a tight, dark room, Yizan looked at Luffy in front of him. Well, okay, you can start. Following Yizan's words, Luffy's choked words resounded slowly in the small black room. Well, since I got on the boat, I have only been favored by Sanji Zoro. There are 3,000 beautiful men in the world, and Sanji Zoro favors me alone, so I persuaded Sanji Zoro to be evenly exposed to rain and dew, but they insisted you don't listen. They spoil me, just spoil me. You say that this is called slavery. Why is it? That's not right. Last night, 2 people were summoned. The floor was full of chrysanthemums. My body is very tired. Luffy's soft voice just fell. Ahahaha. The door of the little black room was suddenly opened, and Nami burst into laughter instantly, covering her stomach and pointing at Luffy and laughing. Behind him, Robin and Khalifa were also standing smiling, almost dying of laughter by Luffy's performance. In the back, Sanji and Zoro stood side by side, their eyes widened in daze. In Yizan's hand, he was holding a phone bug. Hey, video phone bug, can you see it? It's all inside, Yizan said, twisting his waist, imitating Luffy's strange tone. Well, since he hit me on the boat, the favor of Sanji Zoro alone, ha 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 ha. Yizan's words and everyone's reaction made Luffy's eyes widen dumbfoundedly, and looked at Yizan dumbly, only feeling that his whole life was not good. You lied to me, you lied to me. Luffy just repeated this sentence blankly, and the whole person seemed to be broken. Well, since you're fighting so hard, where's the boat? I'll give you half of the money first, and don't need the money. Again, you're not allowed to go to the men's and women's section, and the girls' section. Yizan said, and got on the boat first. Behind him, Luffy just stared at the sky with dull eyes, not knowing how to react. 873 Not long after Yizan went to the Sunshine Mile, he teleported to the huge warship through the Fruit of Face. On the huge warship, 2 women appeared in front of Yizan. Tina, Dusky. Yizan did not expect that the Navy finally gave these 2 women. I didn't expect Lieutenant General Shimura-zan to know us, it's such an honor. Tina and Dusky respectfully said to Yizan. Well, let's talk about it first, my training may be more difficult. Yizan said as he looked at Tina and Dusky. In fact, Yizan is also very experienced in training women to improve their strength. After all, his women need strong strength to protect themselves, and Yizan naturally has his own way of training women. We are not afraid. When the 2 of them said this, the Navy headquarters sighed. Sengoku looked at Vegapunk in front of him and said, how is it? Has it been researched? Vegapunk said, no, it's still a bit difficult for the King of Heaven. After all, there is too little information, but the King of Pluto can already be created. There's no rush to build Pluto. Sengoku said to Vegapunk, if you continue to study the Pluto, I'll go first. Chapter 137 Ghost Story. After Sengoku walked out of Vegapunk's institute, Sengoku, you have the blueprint of Hades, why didn't you make it? Lieutenant General Crane beside Sengoku looked at Sengoku with some doubts. Sengoku tightly knitted his brows. Pluto's design is a bit strange. I'm going to investigate. I have already given the ranks of Nochigao and Belmer to lieutenant generals. You look at them too, starting from the two of them. I'm investigating the origin of Hades, designs, and as for the manufacture of Hades, let's put it aside for the time being. After all, Blackbeard and Ace need to pay attention. Sengoku's mind is extremely clear. But Sengoku didn't know that it was his clear thinking that gave Yizan the mind to deal with him. In Yizan's view, it is far easier to deal with a strong person than a person with superior intelligence. However, although Yizan is ready to deal with Sengoku, but now, Yizan still has no trouble going to Sengoku directly. The second floor of Sunshine Miles. In one room, the curtains were drawn tightly, and only a dim light flickered faintly in the room. Ah! Brother Zan, how are you? In the room, from time to time, some girls screamed and giggled. So what is going on in this situation? There are really ghosts in this world. In the center of the girls, Yizan spoke slowly to the girls alone. When Yizan was talking, all the girls surrounded Yizan nervously. Although all the girls now possess a high level of combat power, girls still have a natural fear of ghosts. No, Yizan had a weird smile on the corner of his mouth, telling ghost stories beside the girls. And while many girls were terrified, Yizan took advantage of it. No wonder men in the past liked to take girls to watch horror movies. This feeling is so cool. Yizan thought of Nami, who was in his arms because of fear. This is a story about human skin, it's called Painted Skin. Yizan said that while Nami was scared, he didn't know when his hands had been placed on Nami's ass. Brother Zan, you are so bad. Tell this kind of story and take advantage of us. Robin looked at Yi Xuanzhao and said, there is no way, even Robin is very scared of these ghost stories told by Yizan. Therefore, Yizan is directly enjoying the blessings of Qi people. And when Yizan was telling these stories, the Wanli sunshine had entered the magic triangle without dying. There were shadows and fog everywhere, and in this case, the atmosphere in Yizan's room seemed even more eerie. Following Yizan's bewitching and gloomy remarks, many sisters couldn't bear the fear brought by Yizan, and moved towards Yizan's side one after another, even if they were occupied by Yizan. Cheap doesn't matter. And Yizan was thinking about whether to do more things like this in the future. Meow. The already very gloomy atmosphere became even more eerie with the cat meowing in this life. Ah! Several women screamed instantly, and the scream pierced the eardrums, making Yizan extremely sour. Huh, Kaya, what did you say? Yizan opened and closed the mouth of the kitten in front of him, but temporarily couldn't hear any sound because of the screaming of the girl beside him. Ooh, Yizan shook his head, then looked at the kitten in front of him. What's the matter, Kia? What's the matter? What's wrong with you? Kia asked strangely, looking at the strange atmosphere in the room. I'm telling a ghost story. Brother Zan is frightening us to take advantage of us. 2 sentences told Kia what was going on in this situation. You really? Kia gave Yizan a helpless glance, and then said to Yizan, the latest news, Ace failed to hunt down Blackbeard, and he was brought to the Navy by Blackbeard, and he was imprisoned in the deep-sea prison Advanced City. And Blackbeard also exchanged for the post of Shichibukai that was vacant because of Hancock's retirement. That's it. I see, it's not a big deal. Yizan waved his hand casually. Ace was arrested in the deep-sea prison, this is no small matter. Khalifa looked at Yizan and said, if Ace was arrested, Whitebeard's side probably won't calm down. In this way, the Navy wants to fighting with Whitebeard as the worst, and there will be some problems with Blackbeard, right? Yizan waved his hand at Khalifa's words. These things don't matter. Of course Yizan will feel that it doesn't matter, but Yizan himself hopes that the whole world will be in turmoil so that he can achieve his goals in a more time-saving and labor-saving way. Kia said to Yizan, if I have nothing to do, I will leave first. At this time, the whole world is in chaos, so I will go to collect information. Well, don't work too hard. Kia nodded, her figure flashed, and she disappeared in place in an instant. And after such an interruption from Kia, everyone was no longer in the mood to continue listening to ghost stories. Let's go out and see. Yizan took the girls to the men's area where Luffy was, only to find that the surrounding sea had completely changed. What's wrong? Nami and Robin both looked at the dim surroundings and asked strangely. Is this the magic triangle? Probably yes. Yizan looked around and nodded thoughtfully. In the contemplation of everyone, Luffy quickly came to Yizan and others. Yizan, you have finally come out. Hurry up and help us. What is this place? No matter how we sail, we can't sail out, and the recording pointer seems to be broken. Luffy looked at Yizan anxiously and said so. This is the magic triangle. It's normal for the recording pointer to not work. Yizan's words, I don't know what happened, reminded Robin of the ghost stories he heard in the room before, looked at Luffy and the others with a half smile, and said slowly, it is said that there are ghosts here. Ghost. In an instant, everyone looked at Robin in amazement. I'm joking, Robin said with a smile. However, at this moment, a faint sound of music came. Chapter 138-Ghost Ship. Gudong. Didn't you say a lie? Robin also set his sights on Yizan. Yizan looked at Nami and Robin with a half smile, maybe there is a ghost. Following Yizan's words, although Nami and Robin knew that Yizan was a liar, they still came to Yizan's side involuntarily. There was no way. The ghost stories that Yizan told the girls before were really scary. And Yizan also refused to come, and directly hugged the delicate bodies of Nami and Robin, and his hands were walking on the bodies of Nami and Robin, who were extremely fearful. Well, have you relaxed? Yizan asked, looking at Nami and Robin. Relax a ghost. It's getting more and more fearful. Nami yelled at Yizan, wanting to straighten Yizan's movements, but she was extremely afraid of the ghosts. In this fear, a strange and tattered dhow slowly entered everyone's sight. Ah! Ghost ship! Nami yelled at the weird dhow. Have fun, I'm going to have a look, Luffy said, heading straight for the boat. And Yizan also took Nami and Robin towards the boat. Damn! Ghost ship! Although Nami and Robin were extremely frightened, they headed towards the boat because of curiosity. In fact, this is the same as watching a horror movie. Because Yizan is there, Nami and Robin are naturally not worried about themselves. There is life threatening, so naturally I want to explore what is going on in all this, which is actually the charm of horror movies. Soon, everyone came to the boat and met the skeleton frame Brook. Yo hee hee, Brook came to Nami and Robin with his weird smile. Beautiful lady, can I take a look at your nene? With Brook's words. Boom boom. A few shutters made Brook look like gold stars. Pervert. Nami and Robin despised, and Luffy slowly learned about Brook. Are you the one that Rab is waiting for? Luffy asked suspiciously. Did you see Rab? Brook also looked at Luffy in surprise. Over time, Luffy quickly got to know Brook. Brook, let me tell you secretly, Yizan is terrible, he will cheat people, don't owe him favor, he will cheat you. Luffy said to Brook quietly. It's okay, I can't leave the magic triangle, Brook said indifferently. Nami looked at Brook strangely, there's no way to get out of here. Brook nodded, yes, I have no shadow, can't see the sun. Can't see the sun, Luffy shouted and looked at Brook, how could this be? I also said that I wanted you to be my crew member, what the hell is going on? Is it because of your body? Robin guessed while looking at Brook. Yizan shook his head and interjected, it shouldn't be the reason for this body. If I don't feel wrong, you should be the devil fruit of the yellow Izumi fruit, right? Yizan sniffed and said to Brook, a cold smell of yellow Izumi. Yizan's reaction made Brook look at Yizan in shock, yes. You actually know about the yellow Izumi fruit. Yellow Izumi fruit. Everyone looked at Yizan suspiciously. The yellow Izumi fruit, the superhuman devil fruit, can make the owner resurrect once after death. Yizan said lightly. Resurrection. Everyone looked at Yizan in surprise. Yes, resurrection, but the disadvantage is that magic power will only be exerted after death, and some Huang Izumi's abilities will be attached to the attack, so only the dead can use and obtain all the abilities of Huang Izumi's fruit. Yizan looked at Brook. He said to the crowd, there is another shortcoming that Brook is like this. Resurrection must find his own body. Once the body is destroyed, this fruit will have no effect. On the contrary, it has the most troublesome shortcoming of devil fruit ability, afraid of the sea, domineering, sea towers and the like. Quote. When everyone listened to Yizan's lectures like good students. Hiss. Luffy seemed to be an ADHD patient, constantly surrounding Yizan, sniffing the air around him like a dog. Hey, Luffy, what are you doing? Nami finally couldn't stand Luffy and yelled at Luffy. I heard that Yizan smelled Huang Izumi, and I wanted to smell it too. What exactly is Huang Izumi? Luffy said, his nose sniffing even more vigorously. Seeing this, Yizan looked at Luffy with a smile. Want to smell what Huang Izumi smells like? It's very simple, I kill you, once you die, you will smell Huang Izumi. Luffy looked at Yizan's gloomy smile, backed away instantly, and waved his hand hastily. No, 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 I haven't become the Pirate King yet, and I don't want to die. Luffy's words made Yi Xuanbai bored and said, it's really boring, don't forget it. Yizan said casually, came to Brook's side, and looked at Brook's feet. No shadow, no shadow. Yizan pondered. What's wrong? Brother Zan, do you know what's going on? Robin looked at Yizan strangely and asked. If there is no shadow, it looks like a shadow fruit. Shadow fruit. Everyone looked at Yizan. And Brook looked at Yizan in shock. You know. Yizan nodded. No some. Shadow fruit, superhuman type, can control shadows. It is a tricky ability, because shadows have no fixed shape like water, and they can be recombined if they are destroyed. The most troublesome thing is Brook. Yizan slowly said. Brook, this should be the result of the shadow being taken away by the shadow fruit. The shadow fruit can control other people's shadows, and the person whose shadow has been taken away will be burned to ashes when exposed to the sun, and if he takes it away, he will be burned to ashes. Putting the shadow of a corpse in a corpse can make it turn into the same combat power and character as the owner of the original shadow. What? Everyone looked at Yizan in shock and asked suspiciously, the same combat power as the original master. Yizan nodded. Of course, there are also some shortcomings. For example, zombies cannot possess the devil fruit ability of the shadow master, and they are afraid of fire and salt. After the shadow master's accident, it will also affect the shadow's combat effectiveness. Chapter 139-Moonlight Mariah's plan. That's terrifying too. Everyone said to Yizan. Yizan nodded. Yeah, so, the owner of shadow fruit is Moonlight Mariah from the 7 Martial Seas under the king. Chihuahai. Brook nodded. Yes, I didn't expect you to know that this is indeed the site of Chihuahai Moonlight Mariah, so you'd better leave as soon as possible. Brook's words did not elicit a reaction from anyone. Sounds like a lot of fun. Luffy said as he looked at Sanji and Zoro. Well, I also want to see and see. The words of Sanji and Zoro made Brook on the side look at the group of people in shock. What the hell is going on with you? You know the Chihuahai, so you should know what the Chihuahai represents. It's very powerful. Brook was talking, but suddenly looked at the sky. In the sky at this time, I don't know when, the dark clouds and shadows have begun to slowly fade away. No, the sun is about to shine, I'm leaving. Brook said, saying goodbye to Luffy and others. No, wait for me. Luffy said quickly, heading towards Brook. Yizan and the others looked at each other, and they all moved towards where Brook was. Moonlight Moria of Chihuahai, it's okay to go and see. Yizan said, facing Nami and Robin. Let's go, take you to see that Moonlight Mariah, in Chihuahai, the existence with the lowest appearance. Yizan said casually, and took Nami and Robin towards the terrorist bark, which is said to be the largest pirate ship in the One Piece world, where Moonlight Moria is located. It's a pity, the boat is very big, but the configuration is not very good. Yi-zan shook his head slightly and said with judgment. Brother Zan is not talking nonsense. Yoshimura-zan's warship configuration, in order to kill you, cost the Navy a lot of money, and the configuration of that warship is really unaffordable to ordinary people. Robin looked Yi-zan said so. Robin's words made Yi-zan shrug his shoulders casually. That's it, let's go. Let's go around the world's largest pirate ship, terrorist bark, right to visit. Yi-zan did not feel any sense of crisis in entering the enemy's side at all, and said casually while looking around. And when Yi-zan entered the terrorist bark. On the other hand, Moonlight Moria of the terrifying bark looked at the zombies beside him and said in surprise, the devil Yi-zan has come to the terrifying bark. Ha 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 ha, Moonlight Moria laughed wildly. No one has any doubts about how powerful the demon Yi-zan is, and even the money spent by the Navy to kill the demon Yi-zan exceeded the expectations of many insiders. And Moonlight Moria also knew about this. What Moonlight Moria knew even more was that Yi-zan's power was real. As long as you get Yi-zan's shadow, the rest is absolutely simple. Moonlight Moria's eyes flashed with a crazy look, and that look was called greed. Moonlight Moria looked at the female zombie beside her, and there was a hint of heartache in her eyes. I have no choice but to sacrifice you. With Moonlight Moria's words, notify Perona, let Perona prepare, and capture Yi-zan's shadow. And Moonlight Moria's peeping on Yi-zan was not known to Akatsuki by Yi-zan. Yi-zan just took Nami and Robin to casually hang out on the horror bark. While Nami and Robin were hanging out. On the other hand, Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, and Brook are all fighting all over the dread bark. However, compared to the original book, Moonlight Moria had a crush on Luffy and others. This time, Moonlight Moria basically didn't pay much attention to the battle of Luffy and others, but stared at Yi-zan with all his strength. Beside Moonlight Moria, Perona looked at Moonlight Moria in shock. You want to take Yi-zan's shadow? Are you crazy? Don't you know how powerful Yi-zan is? That's more powerful than 4 Emperor guys. Man, what's more, even if you get his shadow, you don't have a body that matches that shadow, and you can't exert that huge fighting power at all. I don't care, Moonlight Moria said to Perona. I must get Yi-zan's shadow. As long as I get Yi-zan's shadow, what is the 4 Emperor guys? Must report. Moonlight Moria said, eyes flashing with hatred. And when Moonlight Moria said this, Yi-zan also found something wrong. There are always some zombies watching from a distance. That look of surveillance made Yi-zan a little puzzled. Is Moonlight Moria trying to attack me? Yi-zan asked in doubt as he looked at the many zombies monitoring him. On the other hand, Robin looked at Yi-zan helplessly and said, you clearly invaded other people's ships first, so you still don't allow them to resist. Robin's words made Yi-zan suddenly realize and nodded, yes. I invaded them first, but, what does it matter? There is strength, willful. Yi-zan said, and glanced at the side. In Yi-zan's perception, there was a person standing there like a light bulb. Invisibility fruit, hee, it's so low level to use, and you want to hide your figure in front of me, I'm really drunk. Yi-zan waited for a long time, but he didn't see the invisible fruit person leave, but he was playing a wicked way. Nami, Robin, there's nothing to see here, let's play a game, shall we? Yi-zan said to Nami and Robin. Nami and Robin were stunned for a moment, but they quickly realized that Yi Xuanyu must have become playful. No. Nami looked at Yi-zan angrily and said, I don't want to play games with you, we lose all day. And Robin looked at Yi-zan and said, what game does Brother Zan want to play? Robin's words brought a smile to Yi-zan's mouth and said, the game is very simple, we all cover our eyes and then fight. Yi-zan's words made both Nami and Robin curl their lips. The two of us are definitely not your opponents, right? That's easy, as long as you hit me, I lose, and for me, as long as you touch you 10 times, you lose. How about it? Chapter 140-troublemaking. That's easy, as long as you hit me, I lose, and for me, as long as you touch you 10 times, you lose. How about it? Yizan explained slowly. In other words, no matter what attack, as long as you hit me, I will lose, and after I touch you 10 times, I will lose. How? Yizan's words made Nami's eyes turn around and said to Yizan, you touch us 10 times, isn't it too few? 100 times. Okay. Yizan agreed very neatly. Anyway, touching a girl's delicate body is his favorite thing to do. Where's the bet? Robin also asked Yizan with interest. Betting, I promise you one thing, you lose, go to the warship with me tonight and do something you love. Yizan said with a wicked smile. Okay. Nami and Robin were not afraid, and agreed very neatly. There was no other way. The previous chances that Yizan wanted to overthrow a few women were missed because of various things. This time, no one can stop me from pushing them down. Yizan thought. For now, though, the most important thing is Invisible Man, who was still standing there without any intention of moving, and the smile on the corner of his mouth became more intense. Brother Zan, your smile is so treacherous, what the hell are you thinking? No, absolutely not, Yizan said very seriously. And Yizan's words made Robin and Nami look at Yizan again, and they said after a while, no, we have to add a limit. Limit the scope. Restricted range. Okay. Yizan feels that Nami and Robin are god teammates. Boundary. An enchantment instantly enveloped everyone. Of course, the Invisible Man must be enveloped. Go. Following Nami and Robin's words, the two quickly attacked Yizan. And Yizan's figure flashed in an instant and disappeared in place. What? The Invisible Man was instantly frightened, he couldn't see Yizan's speed at all. In such a situation, if you bump into yourself. The Invisible Man was even more afraid, but there was nothing he could do. If the barrier was to be formed, the Invisible Man had already tested it, and there was no chance of him escaping. Boom blah blah. The rapid attacks of Nami and the others hit the barrier and made a harsh sound, causing the Invisible Man to shiver. In this case, Yizan kept teasing the Invisible Man. Soon. Nami and Robin also noticed something was wrong. After the two women looked at each other, they finally understood why Yizan suddenly proposed this game. So the playfulness of the two women also rose. The nightmarish life of the tragic Invisible Man begins. In this case, Moonlight Moria felt very strange. What's going on? Why was the information suddenly interrupted? Because the barrier blocked the zombie's sight, Moonlight Moria didn't know what happened to Yizan. Perona, use the ghost to test it. Following Moonlight Moria's orders, Perona returned to her residence, lay on the bunk, and ruled out a ghost. When Perona came to the enchantment, the Invisible Man was already played by Yizan, Nami and Robin and was about to die. He lay on the edge of the enchantment, his eyes blank. Inside the barrier, Yizan really played the game just now with the two girls. In this case, Perona entered the enchantment. Although the enchantment could not block the soul, Yizan soon saw the entry of Perona's ghost. Who are you? Yizan asked, looking at Perona who entered the barrier. My name is Perona, what are you doing? Perona looked at Yizan and asked. Play games. Do you want to come together? Yizan asked with a smile. Brother Zan. Nami and Robin looked at Yi Xuanzhao and said, no more. Good. Yizan smiled and nodded. You. Perona opened her mouth, and finally left a sentence, be careful. Nami and Robin watched Perona leave and put their eyes on Yizan. Brother Zan, what did he mean? Moonlight Moria. Yizan nodded. It seems that Moonlight Moria really has an idea about my shadow. I'm thinking, should I try giving him the shadow? Give him the shadow and see if he can make what? What's wrong? Yes. Nami and Robin's objections made Yizan pursed. You too, it's just boring. Okay, you're interesting, but don't give the shadow to that ugly monster. Robin looked at Yizan and said. Okay, leave it alone for now, Nami, Robin, let's continue this game. Yizan said, and quickly attacked Nami and Robin, and the two women also screamed and started the so-called game. Nami, Robin and Yizan were playing games on the Wanli Sunshine. On the other side, Moonlight Moria finally knew what Yizan was doing from Corona. Huh, he's playing a game. Moonlight Moria was really dumbfounded. Is there such a person there? Running here just to play games? Here, play a ghost game in such a spooky place. No, don't care, go and catch his shadow. Moonlight Moria didn't wait any longer, got up and said 4.6 to the crowd. Okay, let's go. Hearing that Moonlight Moria was gone, the few living people under Moonlight Moria naturally could only go towards Moonlight Moria. Moonlight Moria went to Yizan's location. At the same time, Luffy took Zoro Sanji to look at Brook. Look, we are very strong. Brook frowned and looked around. Something's wrong. The zombies on this terrifying three-masted sailboat are definitely more than that. Luffy's eyes widened. And zombies. Let's go and see, you take us to find them. Luffy's words made Brook's eyes widen dumbfounded. You guys. Really looking for trouble? Hey, yes, we just have nothing to do.